Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody else in between. I'm Ashton Gene Lewis. He's Martin Pape. This is the Broke Boy Sports Podcast. We got a ton of stuff to talk about, but before we do any of that, including giving a shout out to our promoter and our advertisers here, Thrive, the Thrive Fantasy app, I got to give a birthday shout out to the woman who makes the jams on this podcast possible. Christina Gukas, shout out to her. She is turning 21 again. So congratulations to her. Shout out to Christina and everything she's done for the podcast. I don't think she understands just how valuable it is to have like a whole array of music that we can just select from that pretty much matches any mood that we could probably want on this podcast. And you'll hear that later on when we do our NFL picks, and you hear it when we do Hi, My Name Is, and of course our dope ass theme song. Anyway,
yeah, Ashton, happy birthday, Christina.
97, man.
Yeah,
happy birthday, Christina.
Yeah, great. We had episode 96 on Tuesday. Shout out to everybody that tuned in. Broke down a little AFC South, who's the best team. Ashton's still leaning on the Texans. I'm still leaning on the Titans. But
I lean on the side of common sense, but
yeah.
okay.
But we've got a lot going today. We've got what's popping in quarantine, best of the best, worst of the worst. We're gonna be looking at we talking money. We got another cornerback getting signed, Ashton. And then we got
shout out to a dude who definitely earned it.
For sure. The NBA Finals have started since we last talked on the interwebs, Ashton, and then of course we're gonna be taking a look at the NFL Week 4 action, making our picks, and hopefully we got some time for the the UFC nickname picks. As we've got was it Holly Holm fighting this weekend?
Yes, The Preacher's Wife. Preacher's Daughter.
Yeah.
Sorry, The Preacher's Wife is a really dope movie that most people, unless you're black, have not seen. Anyway,
and,
it's a really good movie. It has Whitney Houston in it, and it's really good.
Yeah, and really quickly, I love every time that Holly Holm fights because it's the we always get the highlight of her her knockout of Ronda Rousey with the let me just spin you around real quick and then kick you in the side of the head and send your career to the World Wrestling Federation. Every single time she fights, we get to see that, Ashton, and she's got a tough opponent this year. But we're gonna get into the UFCs in just a little while. But before we get there, Ashton's already mentioned it, but we want to go ahead and give a shout out to Thrive Fantasy. If you look at the twitch.tv/Broke Boy Sports, you'll see the banner right there underneath Ashton and I's beautiful face. Ashton, I don't have a beard anymore, by the way. The hair is totally different, so if y'all don't recognize me, I'm still the same man. Just your boy went on a date yesterday, Ashton, so I had to clean up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Thrive Fantasy. Download it on Google and Apple app stores. Put the code BROKEBOY in there once you download it. When you put $20 down, you get $20 back. Thrive Fantasy is not just a normal DFS site. You're actually betting on props. It's a pretty cool idea. So if you think one of the NFL quarterbacks is going to throw for over 275 yards, you bet the over. If you think he's going to throw under 275 yards, you bet the under. My favorite one to do is the quarterback passing touchdowns plus interceptions. We had Baker Mayfield not a couple weeks ago with his he hit the over for me. I'm going to be definitely getting in on the action this weekend. So hashtag prop up. Go ahead and download Thrive Fantasy and use that code BROKEBOY. And you'll have a good time on the app.
Well, Martin, it comes to that part of the show, like we started off every part of the show, even though most of the people listening to this podcast, including you and I, technically are no longer in quarantine, we still have to ask the question upon all of America's mind: what is popping in quarantine?
Yep.
So you want to go first, or you want me to go first? Guess who's the bad guy? Guess who's the bad guy this week?
Let's do bad cop, good cop. So bad cop, you go first.
All right. So what's popping in quarantine, everybody? COVID-19 and sabotage.
Dum, dum, dum.
So COVID-19, 7.35 million people in America have contracted COVID-19, which, by the way, if you understand how asymptomatic carriers work and also like the availability of testing for most of America, that's not actually the case. Like there's way more than 7.35 million people who have have COVID-19. That's just the people who have tested positive for it. 208,000 people have sadly passed away due to either complications of COVID-19 or accompanied by COVID-19 when some other medical issues that they had as well that COVID-19 enhanced and overpowered them with. So rest in peace to those people as well. America has out of the 1 million people who have passed away from COVID-19. America has 208,000 of them. So 20% of the worldwide number of humans that we have lost to COVID-19 is the number that are here in America. I bring that up to point out, as most of you know, if you're listening to this podcast, because you probably have access to the internet, which means you know a lot of things, even things you don't want to know. But this is one that's very important. The leader of the free world, President Donald Trump, has tested positive for COVID-19, and that has sent a lot of people into a flurry, including people on the internet, including a lot of news anchors who I have a feeling, Martin, they're getting a glimpse of what it's like to be Adrian Wojnarowski on free agency day, when free agency starts in the NBA. Sleep has become optional. And the option is no.
Yeah.
So the option is no. And by the way, it's optional in the sense of like your boss gets to choose when you go to sleep, and the option is no until they say something different. So I think they woke up pretty much every major news personality out of a dead sleep to tell them what this information was. Sucks for the Monday morning people. I saw somebody break down the CNN schedule where they were like, yeah, the people who like just got off air got told to turn around and come back to the studio so that they can wake up the people who come on late night before them so that they can wake up and comment on it from their house inside their Zoom room. And then on top of that, somebody just woke up an hour before their wife, who works for CNN and is a broadcaster on there, because she works at 5 a.m. at CNN. So they had to wake up an hour before her to talk about the same news that their wife was getting ready to go to work to talk about. So I'm sure that happened to a lot of news personalities, a lot of people working in the media industry as a whole. And most of you have had a lot of direct contact with the people in your lives that have seen the news and talked about it. I will say this, and why I bring this whole thing up, why I bring up COVID-19, one, because we're talking about what's popping in quarantine, and COVID-19, as usual, is always popping in quarantine. Notre Dame is getting a dose of that as well. Did you see that their president has COVID-19?
No, I didn't see that. But
yeah, Notre Dame's school president has COVID-19, so wishing them well and a speedy recovery as well. I will say this, there's been a lot of things going on Twitter and on Facebook and on pretty much every social media site you can think of, and a lot of it is centered around clowning an old, senile, hateful man. If you've listened to this podcast before, I've already made it very clear about how I feel about the President of the United States of America, most importantly centered around how he feels about me, most likely, right?
Yep.
We could talk about the debates. I don't really need to waste time on that. Y'all have heard every person on the face of the planet talk about that. And this is a sports podcast. I just wanted to bring this up and talk about something that's a little bit bigger than sports. Because guess what? Like, it's a lot of things that are in life that are way more important than sports, despite what a lot of people like try and say about the time that we live in right now. One thing to mention here, man, I just want to say this before some people get on it, and I'm sure a bunch of people already have. Don't taint your soul wishing death upon a person who, like, in the grand scheme of things, does not matter. Like, in the spans of humanity, he's the president of the United States of America, and I'm not saying that you should respect him, because guess what? Like, you got to respect the office before you get the respect that comes with it. Anyway, my point was, wishing death upon anybody is a huge extent that a person has to, that's a huge reach, right? Just like taking the life of a human being can happen in an instant, but the ramifications of doing that last forever, right? Yeah. Same thing with like killing anything, killing anyone. My biggest thing is don't dip into the hate that it would take to wish death upon a person. In particular, a person who is not I wouldn't even say not a threat, because the things that he says.
Is this somebody you disagree with? I think is like what you're trying to.
I don't even think disagree is what I'm just saying. Disagree is not even that. Like Martin, like we're talking about a guy who is empowering a group of people who hate me for my very existence, and I guess this is a better way to say it. I don't have the energy or the time to waste hating somebody, because hate is a powerful thing and it's all consuming. And for you to wish death upon somebody, no matter what status they may have in the world, no matter what they do in their life, it damages you, because that hate that you embrace the hate that typically the person that you're talking about, the person that you're upset about, is already enthralled in. And in this case, yes, a person that's already enthralled in the hate, powered by it, some people would say. But the fact of the matter is, man, I don't just think about that when you write stuff about like you trying to clown an old man, right? He's done horrible things. Be better. Be better than him. Do the opposite of what he would do in this situation, because he comes off, and this is a messed up thing to say. The president of the United States of America comes off like the kind of guy that if Joe Biden had tested positive for COVID-19, he would be making fun of him on the internet. Like he would be
Yeah.
making fun of him. He comes off like that guy, and there's so many people that, like Martin, like you just said, you're like, of course he would. Like, of course he would. That's the despicable low level that we saw. We witnessed him make fun of somebody's dead son on national television as a plot point in a debate, in an attempt to disrupt, an attempt to upset somebody. He made fun of somebody's dead son directly in front of them, which, by the way, I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't have any kids or anything like that. I would dare say this. If you said that about one of my friends, motherfucker, it is time to go outside. It's not we're done having a conversation after that.
Yeah.
So shout out to, I mean, how low you have to be is actually pretty pathetic to say something like that.
Well,
but
yeah, here's Ashton really quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
A very respectful woman once said, "When they go low, we go high."
Yes.
And that was only said about 4 or 5 years ago. So just remember that. Yeah, you can. Yeah, I'm a shit talker and I will rag on people, but when it comes to shit like this, like it's technically putting words in his mouth, but we all know what President Trump would say if Joe Biden got it. That's all I'm gonna say. So if you're gonna be not a supporter of President Trump, don't do what he would do. You know, like just.
My thing is,
have
like,
some common sense.
You can even Martin, like, you can even hate President Trump, like, as a person. You can hate what he stands for. You can hate the fact that he hates you if you're a certain person that looks a certain way. You can hate the things that he empowers, the people that he empowers. That doesn't go to the extent of wishing death upon a person, because if you listen to him, right? If you listen to him, only old people die from it. And guess what 70 years old is? Old. He's not in good shape. He's constantly under the stress and he's under the duress of being president of the United States of America. He's in a life-threatening situation right now. Like, there's no question about that whatsoever. And I'm not asking you to feel sorry for him. I'm asking you to be neutral about this, because you're worth more than being defined by saying something hateful like wishing death upon another human being. I'm not asking you to feel pity for him, because I don't. I'm not asking you to be nice to him, because I won't be. I'm asking you to not be hateful, because that's what he, like, that's, if it tells you anything else, that's what he would do, and that's how you know not to do it. Anyway,
and just before we move on to what I want to talk about and what's popping, just remember, if a president dies, the vice president is next in line. So just know that it would be Mike Pence taking over. So just gonna put it out there. Go ahead and do some research on.
Thinks you can pray the gay away.
Yeah, there you go. I was literally gonna say, go do some research on some of the things that Mike Pence thinks about. So this is gonna be one of the most awkward transitions of all time as we go from talking about that.
I got one more. The sabotage part was Governor Greg Abbott is sabotaging people's ability to actually vote by mail, using absentee ballots by reducing it down to one location where you can turn in your absentee ballot, which, if anything we've learned about COVID-19, mass gatherings of people is not the move. So that means that there are people who, so we talk about poll tax, right? Like, poll tax is the idea, I guess we're about to get a history lesson. Black people used to basically have to pay to participate to be an American. At one point, it was, or there were things like you had to learn, like, after years of having, after years of stopping slaves from being able to read, they were released out into the world. Everybody was free because of the Emancipation Proclamation, whatever. That's a conversation for another day. Anyway, that statement and everything like that, Black people are freed. A lot of Black people have been intentionally held back from education, like things such as reading. And so when it came time to elect officials, there was a requirement to be able to know how to read, which there is no requirement in America for you to be an American citizen, know how to read to be able to vote. Poll taxes have taken on many different forms since that point. That's a pretty blatant one. But another blatant one would be hey, people who have been quarantining to avoid COVID-19 at all costs because you are immune compromised. You are a person who is disabled and not able to get to a medical facility, a person who is not capable of driving because of their disabilities, a person not capable of or somehow transporting yourself to this one location where there are surely going to be a ton of people dropping off absentee ballots. That poll tax now, Martin, has become you choose if you live or risk your life to die. So it's literally, and not figuratively for some people, vote or die.
Yep.
Or vote and die.
Yep, it's gonna
That's
be
what's
crazy.
happening in Texas. Go ahead,
Yep.
man. I'm sorry. I just had to point that out.
So we transition here from COVID-19 and sabotage to what's popping for me in quarantine, and that is, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody listening on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, Twitch.tv, on YouTube, wherever you're tuning into the Broke Boy Sports Podcast, the UEFA Champions League group draw for the 2020-2021. Weird numbers to say out loud, Ashton. The Champions League group draw
The
has
distant
taken,
future.
yeah, the distant future that we're
Martin,
living in.
Martin, the year 2025 is right around the corner, my guy.
It's technically only 4 years away. I mean, we're in October. We're recording this on October 2nd. We've made it to October of 2020.
Not
it's gonna
a
be
flying car in sight, you
yeah.
bastards.
Where the Jetsons at? But the UEFA Champions League group draw has been taking place. I'm not gonna go and tell you all 4 teams and groups A through H. You can go ahead and look those up yourselves if you want to. The biggest takeaway and the biggest talker, Ashton, the 2 players that are considered the best in the world, Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, both of their teams are in Group G. Juventus, Barcelona, Dynamo Kiev, and Ferencvaros. That's not how
Is
you
that an
actually say.
Italian team?
Ferencvaros is
Spanish. It's probably La
no,
Liga, right?
no. They are
Now we're doing
Hungarian.
worldly stuff.
They're Hungarian.
Oh, okay.
So I'm
good
completely
luck. Good for those guys cashing those checks.
Yeah,
good job for those guys cashing those Champion League checks.
Yeah, they'll be having some nice opponents coming to town, but good luck getting a win. But Messi versus Ronaldo, we're gonna get to see them twice. We haven't really seen them play each other since Ronaldo left Real Madrid. Um, Messi, of course, having the one of the most awkward summers he's ever had, since he said he no longer wants to play for Barcelona and Ronald Koeman, and I don't blame him.
Guess what he's still doing, baby?
Getting that money
for Barcelona.
Well, here's the thing: the teams would have had to pay like $400 million to get him, like,
yes,
or pounds.
But next year.
Yeah.
Next year.
It's gonna be interesting. Bayern, the defending champions, they get Group A with not an easy group this time around.
I was gonna say Atletico is not too
they've got
like soccer.
Go and look at who their 2 forwards are. Like, one's a biter and one's a kicker. Like, they Luis Suarez and Diego Costa, 2 players known for being a little dirty, on the same team now. So good luck to Bayern.
Sorry, let me. For those of you who don't know who Luis Suarez is, it's horse teeth, guys.
Yes.
Remember him? He literally bites people. He's been busted for biting people multiple times.
Yep.
I still don't get how anybody hasn't just kicked his teeth in. So, amazingly talented soccer player, no doubt about that. Kind of a wuss, kind of a shitty guy. So based off the way he plays, don't know about him as a person. But anyway, yeah, man. So most important, I just wanted to say about Champions League. There's not too many tournaments that get announced where I'm like, ooh, because it's literally like the best of the best across the world and some of the other places of the world. Because when I say the world in soccer, I mean the big 5 leagues, and then there's some of these smaller leagues that play really well, like Red Bull, Leipzig, who's down there. They're a team that a lot of people underrate all the time. They play pretty well. They're consistently in Champions League, so they consistently play pretty well. But yeah, these are the best of the best teams, and I hope at some point in the distant future, like, football could be like this, because it would be sick. It would be sick to have like a Champions League of football teams across the world, and they each have like their own unique style that goes along with it. But hey, Americans. You know how it goes, man. I'll save it, man.
Hey, speaking of
the whole conversation about how Americans are real, like, not welcoming to people about football. So anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of Americans in football, Sergio Denst, a up and coming American soccer player, just got signed to Barcelona, and don't be surprised if he becomes a regular starter. Don't be
We
surprised if he
coming,
comes.
we coming on up, baby. Team USA about to be lit
Yeah.
in 4 years when we get the Champions World
But
Cup.
yeah, that's the thing.
Nah,
So Juventus and Barcelona are both most likely going to have an American starter on their team because Weston McKennie, who is playing in midfield for Juventus and actually playing really well behind Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo even saying like how impressed he is. Like this is what the American
this is
national
what
team
dreams
needs.
are made
Yes,
of.
this is what
This
the
is what dreams are made of, Martin.
yep. You got Christian Pulisic for Chelsea.
Captain America, baby.
Yeah,
There we
I
go.
believe there's going to be a total of it's 6 or 8 Americans playing in the Champions League, and it's the most all time. So that's something good to look at. But just going through a couple of my takeaways, Bayern, of course, they won last year's and went 10 wins in a row. Didn't lose a single game last season. So
And
will
then
they
they
be?
smoked Messi
Yep,
8-2
yep.
to get it done. Like that's, I mean, you want to talk about like there is no question that they were the best team in the world last year. There was no question that Bayern Munich, the German powerhouse that they are, was the best team in the world, and they are going. They got to be the front runners. And you talk
Oh, for
about Group
sure.
H. Sorry, you talk about the groups of death here in this situation. Group H looks like it's not going to be a fun time because it's got PSG that has Mbappe and your boy, the Wonder Boy himself. Sorry,
Neymar.
Neymar. Sorry, I always try and say his first name. I try and say his full name, which is the number one problem because I know his last name. But Neymar, Manchester United, and then like I said, Red Bull Leipzig is legit.
Yep.
So
Yeah, so Group H is a lot of people's group of the death with United in there, PSG. We've got Monster X Gaming stepping into the chat on twitch.tv/BrokeBoySports saying hello there. What is up, Monster Gaming? Thanks for joining. We are currently taking a little quick look at the UEFA Champions League group draw. Yeah, Group H, definitely one of the tougher groups, but for me, Ashton, Group B is going to be the group of death. Real Madrid, Shakhtar Donetsk, Internacional, which most people know as Inter Milan. And then here, I'm gonna try and take a stab at it. I've never been able to.
I'm scared just because of how their name is spelled. I'm like,
So
oh, these guys got to be good.
yeah,
You can't have like a clown name like this and not be good.
Borussia Mönchengladbach. They're an up and coming German team. Of right now, unfortunately, actually, right now they have started the German season. Only 2 games into it, so it's not like they're it's not like they're halfway through the season. It's only 2 games, but they're in 15th of I think 19 or 20 place. So they're down there at the bottom. Haven't started the season well, but last season had one of the best seasons they've ever had. And they, of course, are going into Inter Milan and Real Madrid, 2 teams that everybody knows about. Like obviously Madrid is going to be the favorite, but when I take a look at the groups and break it down and like look at all the teams, this is the group where I wouldn't be surprised if 3 of them finished as the number 1 team. And Shakhtar Donetsk, you might not have ever heard of them, but they are like they're from I can't remember what exactly country they're from. I think it's Austria. I'd have to double check, but they are in the Champions League constantly, and uh, or Ukraine. Sorry, they're from Ukraine. Of course, they're in Donetsk. I'm an idiot. So they are Ashton for our listeners that maybe not aren't into the soccer, but if you are into the NCAA basketball tournament, Shakhtar Donetsk is kind of like that pesky mid-major that they get like the
They're
12 or
Gonzaga.
14 or no, they get like the 12 or 14. Like when I was writing this down, I was thinking like you remember when SFA went like 4 or 5 years winning the whatever conference they're in and then
Yes,
going to the
Southland.
yeah,
Yes.
the Southland Conference and then going to the tournament and being a 12-14 seed and getting a win or two in the basketball tournament. That is Shakhtar Donetsk. Don't be surprised if they steal a game from Inter or Borussia or even Real Madrid. They're not a team. They're not a pushover team, even though they're the 4th team. Monster is asking in the chat, what's the group of death this year? Most of them aren't so competitive. So for me, I'm going Group B. I believe Ashton's going with Group H because, yeah, PSG, Man United, Leipzig, RB Leipzig, which is Red Bull, and then Istanbul, Basak, Sair. I think that's how you pronounce it. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
not too, but for
I'm
me,
not calling a group of death because of those guys. It's 3 good teams. Like
yep,
most of these groups are like 2 good teams, a decent team, and then a fourth team that's like, yeah, sure, you guys are here to cash these
Yeah.
checks.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
guys are here to get these Champions League checks, and I respect that. Shout out to you for that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, man, like I don't know, man, it's hard to. I mean, I feel like Liverpool's gonna get like like Liverpool's in cruise control, man. Like they got Ajax, they got Atlanta, and then they got Midtjylland, who I have never heard of. I don't even think that's an actual place. But yeah, anyway, I'm going with I'm going with H, man, because just like PSG and Man United and Leipzig is dangerous. Because didn't Leipzig like give PSG a run at one point?
They
Like,
beat Man City, I believe, last season.
yeah, there was like a huge thing because it was like they scored. Who scored 2 goals? It was Liverpool, right? They scored 2 goals in the last minute to get a tie, and everybody was like, "Oh man, the hype is off" or whatever. Anyway, but yeah, no, Champions League group draw. It's all speculation. It's all the fun parts of soccer until the drama starts again. You know how it goes, man, because all these dudes are one bad game. A lot of these elite level players, you talk about like the Neymars, you talk about the Mbappes of the world, the Sterlings, who, god damn it, if you want to talk about a dude that takes a lot of fucking heat, man.
Oh, for
The
sure.
Ronaldos, the Messis, and of course like Bayern, like they're all one bad game away in Champions League from them burning down the city.
Yeah.
Like that's the not fun part. Like the stakes are so high when it comes to Champions League, it's actually insane.
Oh yeah, so really
But
quickly, RB Leipzig actually made the semifinals of last year's Champions League, and
right,
they're the number 3 team technically in this group. So the semifinalists from last year get drawn into PSG, Man United, and then the Istanbul team.
yeah, we're here for a good time. This is a lot of these are good. A lot of these are good matchups, man.
Oh yeah,
I like it.
but I think Group B is the group of death just because all 4 teams. I mean, Shakhtar probably won't get first place, but I wouldn't be surprised in a world where it's Inter Milan, then Real Madrid, or like somehow Real Madrid stumbles through the blocks and it's Inter and Borussia that goes through. Or hell, even Shakhtar could get the second seed if they surprise some of the teams. Because Inter Milan, for those people that haven't been following soccer, they finally have a coach in place that kind of knows what he's doing, and then they also have a lot of people's favorite striker, Romelu Lukaku, who is just scoring goals left and right this
Hey,
since he's
the
got
dude's
there.
got fire in his foot. He's
Oh my
got
God,
fire in
he's
his feet, baby.
yep. Monster says Group D, Liverpool, Ajax, and Atalanta. Who's gonna get second place? Because Atalanta's currently on fire, winning lots of games. Ajax are still competitive even after selling half the team. Exactly. That's the thing with Ajax. Like they are just like
They always there, man.
yeah,
They
they get
always
all these
there.
young dudes, sell them, and then they've got a fucking plethora of young teams as well, or young players, excuse me, as well. Atalanta, one of those teams that if you don't follow soccer or football, you probably have never even heard of them. But like Monster says in the chat, they're on fire right now. I believe. Are they still? Let me see where they are in the standings, because so they're in second place right now, Ash, and through 2 games. So you gotta remember the season's brand new, but right now Atalanta is above Inter Milan in the standings. Um, both teams won both their games, but yeah,
It's a good start.
they've
So
scored
yeah,
8
man,
goals so far.
that's
Inter Milan 9 goals so far in the early season. So both teams have got their shooting boots on, as they say. And my last takeaway before we move on to best of the
all
best.
right.
So there's been a couple of people saying that Man City is gonna basically have a cakewalk through Group C, which is Porto from Portugal, Olympiacos, and Marseille. Um, that's not. I don't think it's gonna be easy for them. They've spent, Ashton, get this, 421 million pounds on their defense since Pep Guardiola took over. 421 million pounds. Haven't been able to win the Champions League. They did, of course, they have won the Premier League a couple of times, but they just gave up 5 goals to Leicester City in one of their last games. So I don't think their
Yeah,
defense
you
is
guys
as
remember? Hey, you
solid.
guys remember Leicester City? Remember when everybody pretended they were all Leicester City fans
Yeah.
when they won the Premier League, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, they were relegated last year, and now they're like the best team in the world." I'm a fan. I'm a fan. Remember that? That was that team.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So I just don't think it's going to be as easy as a game for or a group as people are making out for Man City. Obviously, they've got like Sterling in the attack, one of the best attacking in midfields, but their defense is it's got question marks, and
I'm
I
just
don't
saying.
think a team can cakewalk if you've got question marks, especially against Porto. Porto could easily finish first place. Olympiacos, here or there. Marseille, they're in the French
Martin,
league, so it
Martin,
is what it is.
I got a soccer question.
Yeah.
Sterling's really good. Why does England suck?
you give me a whole episode, give me a whole 3 hours on that one. I You want to know the main reason why England struggles? The media. The
The pressure, the
the press.
pressure.
Yeah, no, they for some reason the English press just loves shitting on
To
England
shit on
players, like
people.
just
Yes.
completely ruining careers for no fucking reason. Like you would think you would want your team that you're in this country that you're covering to be successful. Like the golden generation of English football with like the Beckhams and the Scholes and Gerrard and Lampard, like that, yeah, they didn't weren't successful on the field, but a lot of the shit that made the golden era not be as golden was the English press. This fucking hounding Wayne Rooney for his sex life, hounding Lampard and for how fat he got, and just like all this shit, dude. Like, just come on, it is what it is. But that's the breakdown. That's what's popping in quarantine for me. The Champions League group draw. We're believe the first games kick off October 20th. They haven't announced the fixtures. Everyone will be looking forward to when Messi versus Ronaldo take on one another in Group G as Juventus and Barcelona get taken into the same group. And we move on now, Ashton. The best of the best. You've got two this week to give us, and it's 2020, and once again, we're doing a really sad milestone.
Yo, I almost put this in worst of the worst just to be like, it's a lighthearted worst of the worst, guys. But then something else came across my mind, and I worst of the worst is a good one, guys. Let's just put it at that one. The NFL had its saddest milestone of its 110 years of existence Sunday when Washington played Cleveland, Martin, for the first time ever in NFL history. There were there was a woman on both coaching sidelines and on the officiating staff. So let me go through the ladies' names because, quite frankly, Martin, they worked their ass off to get here. And it's really, there's so many other things that are at play as to why it took them so long to get here and why it's taking long for other women to get in this role as well. Sarah Thomas is the first female coach ever hired in the NFL. She was working for, she was brought in by, she's the first female official ever in NFL history. She worked her way up through the NFL referee training camp thing that they have, where it's like you get put into like a feeder system and you work on games and everything like that. Jennifer King, the first black woman to ever coach for an NFL team, is she started her gig in 2018. If you remember, she was actually best of the best on this show a couple months ago at the beginning of quarantine when it was announced that Ron Rivera, and once again, I don't like Martin. I don't know how many times I can say this. It don't matter what Ron Rivera does this season. Dude is doing more things for the game of football than that have been done in a really long time in the game. So Jennifer King, first black woman to ever coach in an NFL game in 2018. It is really hard for me to believe that no woman has ever been qualified to coach in the NFL up until 2 years ago. So that plus Ron Rivera cultivating and really putting a lot of his own personal effort into making sure that women are brought into football, because he went to the women's coaching conference that was in, I forgot where it was, but anyway, he paid for them to all like have dinner and stuff at like a nice restaurant to show like support for the group of women who got the love of the game just like the dudes do. Callie Brownson, who some of you guys are familiar with, she started coaching at the high school level. She then worked at Dartmouth. She now works. She worked for the Bills, and then she came over to the Browns when Stefanski took over. She was on the Browns sideline. So for the first time ever, 3 women were at all 3 levels of the on-field stuff for the NFL. And the saddest thing is that it took 110 years for that to happen, which goes to say a lot about not only the world that we live in, but football. Anyway, moving on. Other best of the best. This is actually a really good one. Delonte West was picked up by Mark Cuban. Martin, I'm sure you saw this one.
Yeah, I didn't even believe the pictures of how
Every
Delonte
time
West
it
is looking.
happens, because in NBA Twitter, it happens like at least once a year where somebody comes across Delonte West like walking the streets. And he's just like out of his mind. And it's for a lot of different factors. It's a combination of mental health and addiction. And it's a lot of people have tried to reach out to him. One thing as usual, Twitter Twitter was despicable about this. They started blaming his old teammates as to why he's in that state that he is. And that's the number one problem when it comes to like mental health. You just have to accept that some people are born differently and things happen throughout the course of their life that put them on a dark path. And not to say that he doesn't have a strong support system or anything, but the number one thing that's related in addiction, Martin, is you have to want to change before
Yeah.
you can actually change, right? That's the thing that happened with Delonte. Like he's got some dark stuff that he's probably fighting, man. He's got some stuff that's really weighing him down, that's really tearing him down. And he's got people who, luckily enough for him, have a lot of money to make sure that he can get whatever help he needs. It just comes down to whether or not at some point he wants to receive that help. So hopefully he will. And we wish all the best for him. Mark Cuban, a billionaire, went out of his way for no reason whatsoever to go and help out a guy that he knew because Delonte West played for the Mavericks for quite some time. So he went out and found Delonte West, I believe, in a gas station, like
Yeah. Like outside on the
like
corner, right?
yeah, outside on the corner, and it scooped him up, man. Hopefully they're gonna get Delonte the help that he needs because it's one of the saddest and darkest things that happens in sports. Because if I don't know what kind of addiction it is, but it may be opioid, it may be whatever it is. But at one point, Delonte West, do not forget, was a millionaire,
Yep.
and he's on. They had to go pick him up, like Martin said, sitting outside of a gas station. So hopefully he's getting the help that he needs, and hopefully this will be a lesson to all of us. Always extend a helping hand when you can. And Mark Cuban, shout out to him for going out of his way to do such a thing for somebody he really didn't have to do anything for, right? So
Yep.
shout out to him for best of the best, man. That's amazing. Martin, worst of the worst, man. You want to take this one or you want me to do it?
We can both take a stab at it. Everyone knows probably what it is. As if you've been following the show at all for a while, if you're tuning in on twitch.tv/Broke Boy Sports, if you're liking what you're hearing, go ahead and hit that follow button for us. We're on the path to affiliate. We've been doing this all year long. Ashton's been doing this for quite a lot longer than that. I joined in February or March, and we've been doing the best of the best, worst of the worst, and talking about COVID a lot, coronavirus, and Ashton.
Coronavirus. Sorry.
The worst of the worst is unfortunately it's happened. The Tennessee Titans, the first NFL team to have a COVID-19 outbreak in the midst of the season. Was it 3 straight days they had somebody, either a player or a personnel member, test positive, and this was after the Vikings game. And so the first positive test was from a linebacker coach. For me, this is why we have the episode today named Wishful Thinking. It's because Ashton, we were really, really wishful thinking that the NFL would go all season without having a game postponed because of it. But my biggest takeaway from it is I hope it's the only time this happens this season. Hopefully it's just not a mistake, because it is what it is. But hopefully this is the only time that a game this season and players and a lot of people test positive for it.
Yeah, and the wild part is we were just complimenting the NFL on Tuesday about how, wow,
Yep.
man, they made it this far without any positive or any tests that have been able to absolutely shut down an entire organization, which this has effectively done. And remember, I really wish, shout out to the legend Lee Corso. I wish he was there when we were doing the podcast to hit us with the not so fast, my friend.
Yeah.
Right before this happened, because it happened on Wednesday. So, it's been interesting, man, because it's more people testing positive every day. They're up to double-digit positive tests so far. And first and foremost, hope every single one of them is asymptomatic and they don't have to go through the pain and suffering that I hear other people are going through when they catch COVID-19. And most importantly, hope nobody passes away from it. Second on that list is, man, the NFL. The NFL's made their decision, Martin. I think you saw it as well, but we'll just read it out for all the fans out there, for everybody listening. Steelers versus Titans, which is the game that was supposed to be this week, is now week 7 for the Titans and the Steelers, thus eliminating their bye because they're moving this game to the Steelers bye week. They're moving Ravens Steelers to week 8. The Steelers and Titans both have a bye week for this week. The Ravens bye week is now week 7 because the Steelers will be playing the Titans during the Titans bye week. Shitty part about that is, if you've been paying attention, Every report has said that both of the teams are still preparing as if the game is going to happen. Which, if you know anything about the bye week, a lot of dudes like to go out of town. They
Mm-hmm.
like to go to resorts and go on vacation and be with their family and everything like that. So they're 1 week off from the entire NFL season, and it is the only day off you get when you're an NFL player, other than like Tuesday. And even on Tuesday, dudes are doing like film study, right? Um, they get their 1 week off where they get to hang out with their family and be with them and really take a chance to get away from the media, like get away from having to constantly answer questions and everything like that. It has now been cut down to 3 days. It is now they get a weekend off instead of an entire week. And that has got to be a really shitty feeling. I saw Eric Ebron post about how he had his son's birthday planned for his bye week this week, and that won't be happening because he has to go play a game. So him celebrating his son's birthday is going to have to get put on the back burner because of football. So that happens to a lot of other people, and it's out of your control when it's all said and done, right?
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, that's really shitty that that's the case because the Steelers have to suffer for whatever happened with the Titans, because it's even Martin, it's even hard for me to blame the Titans because I don't know what the hell these guys been doing, right? Like they could have all been at home and somebody could have like dropped off a package and that person could have been positive and then passed it on to someone else and they pass it on to someone else and they pass it on to the linebacker coach, and then it affects like a bunch of other people as well. So we don't know the full extent of how it even got into the building. They're deep cleaning the entire Titans facility. They are doing daily testing indefinitely because at one point they really thought that they were going to be able to drift away from doing daily testing, which cost them thousands of dollars per team weekly. In the end of the day, it's going to cost them millions of dollars in a year that is going to be a financial loss for them more than likely, right?
Yep.
So that compounds what has been a rough year for, because at some point, Martin, that money's got to come out of somebody's pocket, right? Hopefully it was money that may or may not have even been going into their pockets to begin with, and it's just like some bonuses that people don't get paid. But at some point, I already saw how certain players from facilities are getting furloughed, certain players from certain teams are getting furloughed. NBA teams that didn't make the bubble furloughed a bunch of people as well, which means those people were not making money but still got to keep their benefits. They got on unemployment, which we've already had a discussion about how unemployment's been cut for a lot of people, and it doesn't match the amount of money they were making before. So that sucks. It's not affecting the players yet. It's going to affect the players next year when the salary cap drops for the first time, I would say, ever in the history
In
of
a
the
long
NFL.
time that
Yeah,
hasn't
I'd
been done.
love to see the last time the salary cap dropped in the NFL, because that would be interesting, like on a high level. But nonetheless, man, this is bad news because hopefully they get it under control, because if they don't, it could happen to somebody else. They've already tested the Vikings, who played against the Tennessee Titans, and they everybody's negative there. They've tested everybody. They've tested the Steelers, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's getting tested on a daily basis,
Yeah.
and they're just releasing now to the media what the results of those tests are. So hopefully everybody's going to be safe. Hopefully everybody's going to be okay, and hopefully not having a bye week, which the guys have been at home, right? Like they all got sent home on Monday. They've been at home at least resting up instead of being like at practice, kind of like wondering what's going to happen, right? But at the end of the day, like that mental relaxation and that just removal from the world in general that comes with the bye week is going to be affected, and hopefully it doesn't derail or destroy your career or something like that, because you never, I mean, Martin, you know this, everybody in football is one play away from it all
Yeah.
being over, right?
True.
So yeah.
One of the last thing I have to say on this, Ashton, is so fucking interesting and so random.
Yeah, I saw that too. I saw that random thing you wrote there. I was like, yo, that's really dope. Tom
So
Pelissero tweeted that out, right? Yeah.
yeah, so the bus driver who drove the Titans to the Vikings game tested positive. They were also the bus driver who drove the Astros to their game on Tuesday against the Minnesota Twins in the playoffs. Here's the moment in the show, the only moment in the show we'll be talking about the MLB playoffs today. The Astros won their series that everybody wrote them off for. But anyways,
And by the way, as of yesterday, they will be playing Mike Fiers in the Oakland Athletics.
oh, that's gonna
So
be great. Anyway, so the bus driver who took the Titans and the Vikings game tested positive. Also drove the Astros to their game on Tuesday against the Twins. The MLB says everybody that was on the bus or all the players on the bus that have tested negative so far. And Ashton, you and I were critical of the MLB at one point when they were coming back for how they were handling it. They've now went 33 straight days since a player tested positive for it, and I believe 41 of the past 42 days as well has no player
And,
has tested positive. So yeah,
and
the
with
the
sorry,
Marlins
I was
break
just gonna
out.
point out.
Yep.
I was just gonna point out now in the playoffs they're going into localized bubbles.
Yeah, it's
So
gonna
like
be
they're
in
going to
Arlington.
different. Multiple teams will be in the same city. They're going to be in Arlington for one one set of series, and then another city for the other ones. But yeah, they'll be localized. They'll be under like the same strict regulations they were before, which means it should, in theory, be it should drop like the chances of somebody contracting COVID-19 to basically zero because they're in a bubble setting now in the playoffs.
Yeah. So you've also got a second thing here for worst of the worst this week.
Yeah, this is a good one. So Gary Anderson, who's the head coach of Utah State, a football team that I don't think many of you could identify if you saw them playing on a football field, but they were a pretty good Pac-12 team. But he came out and said the Pac-12 is coming back, by the way. Pac-12 is coming back. They've decided to return to play because apparently they've gotten access to higher in testing and more testing, so they can be able to monitor and get results quicker and better, more accurate results about what players' conditions are. We can talk about the moral ambiguity that goes with like getting people to play for free,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
also
really quickly. Utah State is in the Mountain West.
sorry, Mountain West. I don't. Utah is.
Yeah,
in
Utah's
the
in the
Pac-12.
Pac-12. Utah State.
Yeah,
is
sorry,
in
Utah
Mountain West.
State.
But they're
I
both
don't know
coming
why I
back.
said
Same
they're,
same
they're,
thing.
yeah.
Different conference. Both coming back.
Utah State, their head coach Gary Anderson said, "At least our program doesn't have any opt-outs. It's not an option if you opt out. You're not with us." Translation, and for everybody listening at home, you're soft and a traitor if you opt out because you're useless to me. So yeah, that
Yeah,
was
not the
that was
first
the
coach we've heard say that.
Yeah, man. I guess we all forgot about the Mike Gundy thing.
Yeah.
Nobody's really talking about that anymore. But yeah, that and there's this whole overarching thing of like, yo, man, the team's more important than you, and like now they're asking players to put themselves in a position to contract a disease that more than likely won't kill them, but there's still a chance it will. And a disease that if they do catch, I wonder how much a part of the team they'll be then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was despicable for an adult to try and claim that kids are not a part of the team because they choose their personal health or the health of people that they care about over football. And I get it, football means a lot to a lot of people. It means a lot to me. Yeah. But like your life is important because you only get one as far as I know, Martin. So yeah,
I'm coming back as a flying squirrel. I don't know about you, dude. I'm joking.
I don't even want to know why a flying squirrel. I don't even want to know why.
It's my favorite animal.
If you're at home watching live, also put on mute in the background the WNBA Finals. It's the Seattle Storm with the legend Sue Bird taking on the hottest team in the WNBA, the Las Vegas Aces. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about Liz Cambage. That was an opportunity to do that and talk about her Playboy shoot, but I won't do that. Anyway, you should go look it up on the internet.
I'm about to do that right now.
It's on her Instagram. Anyway, moving on. Gary Anderson, fuck you, dude. Don't know you. Don't know anything about you. Maybe that was taken out of context. I highly doubt it was, but I'm pretty sure you'll say it was. But that's a pretty messed up thing to say to a bunch of kids who you have all the leverage in the world over. Moving on, Martin. It's time to talk about some money.
Yeah, Ashton, you're gonna have to talk about this because I'm looking up Cambage's Playboy shoot real quick.
Is from London, I think. So she's one of your countrywomen.
Oh, she is? Nice.
Yeah, it's countrymen no matter what, right?
I think so. No, yeah, she's Australian.
Australian.
So from down under.
Down under. Anyway, we talking money or we talking money, where we talk about athletes getting paid or anything that is in sports that revolves around a lot of money. So the number one thing, Marlon Humphrey, who is a defensive back for the Baltimore Ravens, many could argue the best defensive back depending on the day of the week, because he is competing with Marcus Peters for that role every single week. But Marlon Humphrey signed an extension for 5 years, $98 million, making him the second highest paid cornerback in the NFL, the number one corner. Of course, Jalen Ramsey, locking him down, lock him up. He's Houdini. He makes wide receivers disappear, baby. He throws a little sheet over him, and you don't see him until the game is over. Anyway, Marlon Humphrey is a rare second-generation successful NFL player, Martin. His dad's name is Bobby Humphrey, who used to play for the Dolphins and the Broncos. He played for 5 seasons, which is a good run for a running back, to be honest with you. That's above average, especially in the world that we live in now. He used to play back in the day where, like, if you were the running back, you were the running back,
Yeah,
right?
there was no like no running back duos back then.
Yeah. He's in charge of Marlon's money. Like, that's Marlon's like, yeah, my dad watches my spending for me. But anyway, the best part about this, he signed for $98.75 million. And in the most 2020 thing of all time, Martin, he had to celebrate on Zoom with his family. And sometimes it's the simple things that matter most. His sister got him a cookie cake and showed it to him on Zoom, and it said, "Congrats, Marlon, $98.75 million."
Hell yeah. You work hard.
Priceless.
Work hard, everything. I mean, Jalen Ramsey's still number 1, but isn't Jalen Ramsey? No, he's on the Rams. Never mind. I was gonna say, are the Ravens paying the top 2 cornerbacks, which would be fucking wild.
No, they are not. Although Marcus Peters is up there.
Yeah, it's Marcus Peters. Marcus Peters is the Ravens. That's right. But
Marshawn Lynch's cousin.
But Marlon Humphrey, if you watch the Ravens week in and week out, you know how valuable he is, and this is one of the benefits of having a stud quarterback on a rookie contract. You can pay your other players a little bit more money, yeah.
Big time money. Shout out to Marlon Humphrey. He earned every dime of that, and hopefully he continues to do that as well, so he can get almost $100 million. He cried at the press conference because, like Stephon Diggs, it's life-changing money. Like, yeah. Even if you only cashed in on it for 1 year, it's $19 million a year, and goddamn, that's amazing.
That's like that's like generational money, Asher. Like, you can,
yes, it is.
Your family, your son, your daughters, their sons and daughters, like, they're set for a while, you know.
Hoover, Alabama, stand up. That's where he's from. So
Hoover. Anybody? Hoover. Did you used to watch the football show 2-A-Days back on MTV with Hoover High?
Oh man, no.
Oh my God, that was.
People talk about that show all the time, and I never got into it. I wasn't a big fan of MTV back in the day, but that's just me.
That was one of my favorite shows way back when. I loved it.
I know Night School was a big deal because it was like Bob Knight, and it was everybody getting a glimpse into like what torture he puts his team through.
Yeah.
And a lot of high school coaches went and just emulate. Like, my high school coach took some drills from that show and utilized them. We had to do defensive slides for like 10 minutes straight one time, so that was fun. Anyway, what's going on, Martin? We deleted media suggestions unless you had one. We're trying to get into this because we got a lot to get into. We got to talk about the NBA Finals. We got to pick for NFL Week 4 and discuss these games and all this kind of jazz like that. And then we also need to talk about the UFC Nickname Picks for this weekend because it's Fight Island, baby. Fight Island is back again.
We're already onto the second weekend of it, which is, I mean, last weekend we'll talk about it in a couple of minutes, but the last Stylebender put on a fucking show, and
Paulo Costa.
Yeah, Paulo, I think he embarrassed himself a little bit. But speaking of a show, speaking of a show, the Showtime Lakers, they are taking on the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals. Ashton, I watched about 30 seconds total of this game. Bad on me. I'm a sports guy and not watching NBA Finals, but
don't worry, guys. I got you. One of us watched the whole thing because one of us has an addiction problem that we can stop anytime we want. So this happened. The Miami Heat won the Eastern Conference, which, by the way, Martin, I don't know if you caught this or not. Eric Spoelstra thanked everybody. Like, he thanked all the current and past Miami Heat players. He thanked everybody but LeBron James, the guy who won the championships and 2 MVPs when he was with them. No big deal. I just wanted to point that out. I was like, you think he didn't notice that? And it's when they curb stomp him again for game 2, because game 2's a little bit later on tonight, because today is, almost forgot. Today is, in fact, October 2nd. Spoopy season has begun for people on the internet and everything like that. But yeah, October 2nd, next game of the NBA Finals. It just came out that Bam Adebayo is not playing.
Yep, and Goran Dragic.
And Goran Dragic is probably not going to play for the rest of the series. Yep. He tore his plantar fasciitis in his foot. So he's not coming back. Anyway, Yeah, they at one point in this game one of the NBA Finals, just casually, the LA Lakers, one of the best teams that LeBron James has ever been able to play on, and all this kind of jazz like that. With Anthony Davis, the best second fiddle to LeBron James ever, right?
You wait, hold on. You think AD is the second fiddle? I think LeBron is AD's
Sure.
fiddle.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
AD
Um.
is the main reason they're winning these games, not LeBron.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me. All right, I guess it's time to educate. Get out your notepads and pencils and everything like that. Points don't equate to leading the team. And on top of that, LeBron James is the greatest teammate in the history of the NBA. So the fact that he has allowed Anthony Davis to flourish and dominate the way he can, or the way he is right now in the NBA Finals, and he's also filled in the gaps where Anthony Davis could not. Like, remember when PJ Tucker was giving Anthony Davis the business or whatever, and LeBron James had to go out there and take care of business. You also said AD leading him to this game. So he almost had a triple double in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. So I'm just saying he's dialing it down because he doesn't have to hurt these dudes, right? Like he doesn't. He's like, I don't want to. Nobody wants to lose by 40. You can lose by 20 and be okay with it, kind of deal. Like it could be one of those things where they're both going full bore, or it could be one of those things where LeBron James fills in the gaps. He finds his open teammates, gets them opportunities to do their thing in simple plays, and then he takes care of the crazy plays like the full 360 alley oop dunks, even after the buzzer's gone off, because that happened in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. But yeah, there's no question whatsoever that LeBron James is making that team that much better, and he's making that team better by allowing people to do what they do best, and that is not going to show up in the stat sheet. LeBron James has spent most of Game 1 of the NBA Finals taking on double teams from the Miami Heat.
Yeah, that was an
Because they know they're like, well, we can't let this guy kill us. We can let Kentavious Caldwell Pope kill us, which, by the way, he did. He killed him. The Lakers shot at a 3-point percentage that was significantly higher than what they had done in the playoffs so far, because legit there were no defenders near them when they were taking those threes.
That's what I was trying to say. It was a very interesting strategy from Spoelstra to double team LeBron and AD and just leave everybody else open. Like,
and by the way, the shout out to the Lakers, they responded to that double team. Martin, did you see this? They ran enough into not only the man zone that they were running, but also on top of that, set enough screens to get terrible mismatches for Anthony Davis. Like they at one point they somehow tricked the Heat into letting it was Kendrick Nunn. It wasn't Kendrick Nunn. It was Duncan Robinson. They got Duncan Robinson in a one-on-one with Anthony Davis, and then everybody else was in the far three-point corner. They were like, oh, no, we need to see this one play out. We need to wait and see what's going to happen here. They left Rondo wide open. He finally knocked down a couple of threes, so, you got big
playoff Rondo, man. He hates being called it, but there's no denying it.
Playoff Rondo, sure. But yeah, Kentavious Caldwell Pope did his thing. They played the top tier defense, because if there's one thing that the Lakers are pretty good at, is their man-to-man defense. Like when it's one-on-one type deals with no help or whatever, they are good because they have a wider margin of error because they're just that much bigger than their opponent 90% of the time, and it's every percent of the time when they're playing against the Miami Heat. So the size definitely played into Game 1 in terms of the defensive effort, but fact of the matter is the Lakers took advantage of what they know about the Miami Heat and what they know about their defensive system to force terrible matchups. They got Jay Crowder at one point against Anthony Davis. Anthony hit down, he got like a hook shot, he got a fadeaway jumper. They got Jimmy Butler manned up on LeBron James, which for the most part, you call that a win, except when it's LeBron James. But it was definitely LeBron James on the post with no help.
Yeah.
So that's bad. That's bad. Every time. Every time it's bad. Yeah.
Ashton, I'm gonna do a little box score reading here because, like I said, I was tuned out of this game by halftime because it was a blowout. The game was over before halftime. It is what it is. So everybody's favorite box score statistic for the NBA. And if you don't know what the plus minus rating is, I'll give you a little brief definition here. The plus minus is a sports statistic used to measure a player's impact on the game, represented by the difference between their team's total scoring versus their opponent's when that player is in the game. So let's go into the box score and see just how bad some of the Heat players were in that plus minus category. Tyler Hero, who everybody has been just talking up. Yeah, he's got a gorgeous girlfriend, and
I mean, he
is a
also
lot more
knocks down like
successful.
absolutely insane threes.
Yeah, minus 35 in the plus minus, despite scoring
Yeah,
14 points.
that's about
Ashton.
right. He's a small boy. He's a small boy.
Duncan Robinson did a Trevor Ariza, didn't make a single shot, 0 points, 0 for 3 from the field. I mean, if I'm Eric Spoelstra and I'm looking at what we can do better in Game 2 tonight, as we record this on Friday, October 2nd, I think you got to get Duncan Robinson going early because he's showed throughout this playoffs at least that like he can like not put the team on, I'm not going to say put the team on his back, but he can be that guy to provide a spark. And when your spark plug is going 0 for 3 and 0 points and a minus, I mean, not that bad of a plus minus -8. I mean, I think he needs to get going. Jimmy Butler is already guaranteed a win for Game 2. I don't know if you saw that. I think it was Rachel Nichols put it out that Jimmy Butler is basically
Jimmy Butler about to come out here with these black Air Forces on and let people know what time it is. Like,
yeah, without two of his can't really call them stars just yet, but two of the better players on the team. But the bench for Miami, they need to step up because a lot of people were talking up about just how well they were doing coming off of the bench and their other series here in the playoffs on the plus minus on the other side. Just to back up my claim that it's AD's the number one, plus 23. LeBron James only a plus 10 while he was on the floor. So that one,
yeah, because
point to me on that one.
You ever looked at the plus minus for the Lakers when LeBron James isn't on the floor? Because it's bad. It's basically the polar opposite of what you just read off.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, man. Like y'all, like
that's my favorite.
Everybody thinks it's all about the points, bro. It's just it's legit about like actual leadership.
No,
LeBron James, if there's anybody.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if there's anybody who actually leads, it is one LeBron James.
Yeah, a lot of people that follow basketball and are a lot smarter than me at it, they know the plus minus doesn't really mean anything. It's just another stat.
It means so little that there's another stat called true plus minus.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's an advanced level stat that actually looks at the plus minus works is like how many points did you score in comparison to them scoring when you were on the field. And then true plus minus looks at like how many points did you score in comparison to them scoring when you were like the closest person to somebody. So anyway, but yeah, a lot of advanced stats. It's hard to because NBA defense is such a blend of man and zone so much of the time, and then switches and help defense changes relatively all the time. But it's such a mix of man and zone that it's hard to be like it's that guy's fault. That y'all score unless it's like a straight up like isolation one-on-one play. It's hard to just sit there and be like, yeah, that guy standing right in front of him is the person who was defending him, and that's not true. You know that, Mark? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that. It's just like one of those situations where like Zion plays and the Mavericks run double center because they know that the guard is going to get beat and the actual defensive responsibility is of the help man, which is the second center, to make it more difficult for Zion to shoot over, which, by the way, I'm assuming a lot of people are going to be doing that next season, so look out for that. Anyway.
So just really quickly.
That's all I got on game one.
I just, you got something else, man. No, I was going to ask you about game two. Like, what do you – one, without Goran Dragic, who's going to run the point for the Heat?
So it's probably going to be Kendrick Nunn out there. Kendrick Nunn is – I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but basically everybody's just like, yeah, Kendrick Nunn had COVID. And he may or may not be like cardiovascularly affected by it. So like he had COVID during like beforehand. He was one of the people who showed up late. Remember that? Mm-hmm. Remember how the Nuggets showed up and they had 7 people out of their 15-man roster? And the same thing, like some people showed up late because they were getting over COVID, and terrible time to be getting over COVID is right before the NBA playoffs start, or like right before you go into an NBA bubble. But anyway, that happens. Kendrick Nunn, it's gonna be the most minutes that he's probably about to play the most minutes he's played the entire NBA season tonight. You tell me if you think that's a good idea. Like, and it's not because he's not good, because Kendrick Nunn set like. He's an undrafted player, right? Like, so he's an undrafted player who made the roster, became a starter for the Miami Heat, and then kind of fell off there because of the COVID situation. But Kendrick Nunn has set records for undrafted players. Like, he might be one of the best undrafted players to make an NBA roster ever. So, tonight will be interesting because it seems like it's time to go all in on shooting these threes. So it might be Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero out there. Jimmy Butler might be bringing up the ball a ton in this NBA Finals game because they need somebody who is going to be able to stab, like who's going to be the knife, the point of the knife to get to the hoop, to draw that extra defender, and somebody who's going to be able to find that open shot and be able to take it because they are not getting separation. They are not getting any separation from the defenders up front. So it's gonna be wild because the official, like Bam Adebayo represents like 30% of the assist made off of pick and rolls in the Miami Heat offense. So you tell me if that's a good thing or not. By the way, starting in place of him, Kelly Olynyk.
I was gonna say, who's gonna have they announced who was gonna start, because we might have a Udonis Haslem sighting.
No, it's Kelly Olynyk. Oh no, they'll put Solomon Hill, who has become a running joke in the NBA playoffs, by the way, because he's played 4 minutes every single playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
Udonis Haslem is untouchable, but hey, he might get out there. He might be. It's all hands on deck because can't go down 2-0 to these dudes, man.
Yeah, and
cannot.
And another box score question: what's going on with Myers Leonard? Why isn't he seeing any time? He's only seen like 8 minutes total in the playoffs. Is there a reason for that? I thought people were high on Myers Leonard. Am I completely wrong on that?
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna take the layup.
What? No, go ahead.
Myers Leonard didn't kneel during the first. Anyway.
Yeah, he stood.
He was one of the only people that didn't kneel. Anyway, he explained it. He actually was one of the few people that, if you go look at his explanation, it actually makes perfect sense. So you should definitely go check out the reason that Myers Leonard did not kneel. But Myers Leonard's not good.
Okay.
He doesn't play the Heat form of basketball very well. He played for the Trailblazers really well. Does not play the Heat style of basketball very well.
Okay.
Also, he can't shoot.
No.
And they need people who can shoot.
Yeah.
Bam Adebayo is a center who can shoot threes in certain situations. So
that's how much I watch the Heat and everything this year, because I always thought Myers Leonard was like decent.
He's a name. He played really well with the Portland Trailblazers. He developed a lot when he was with that team. Now he's in a completely different system because Eric Spoelstra has a unique way of looking at basketball, and that's what got the Miami Heat here. You know what I mean? His way of basketball got them here, plus the talent that he has on that team. But we'll see what happens here tonight, man. Check it out. NBA Finals Game 2. If you're listening live, it starts, I think it's 7 or 8. I don't know.
I believe tonight it's at 8.
Yeah, it's a Friday, so unless you're just really gun-ho about watching baseball, which is on right now on ESPN, you should do that. Anyway, Martin, it is time. It's time. Time to talk a little football.
Yeah. You got a question you want to ask here real quick before we get into I just want to say this before we talk about week 4. I went and looked. You and I already have an X for this week because we're recording this on a Friday. I didn't put my pick in for the Thursday night football game because
who you gonna pick? Like,
oh come on, it would have been the Broncos. That's the thing. Like, can I not retroactively go in there and pick the Broncos? Like, there's never a game this season that the New York Jets are going to be picked to win a game. Fuck the New York Jets and fuck Greg Williams.
Yeah, man, we can talk about that a little bit later.
Anyway, we'll talk about it on Tuesday.
Thursday night football went down. It actually was fun, from what I heard.
Yeah, I didn't watch.
I legit tweeted out. I was like, guys, if we collectively don't watch it, we don't have to talk about it. So we should just not watch it. And naturally, you all watched it because you're the ones with the problem, not me. You're the ones with the addiction problem. If you went out of your way on a Thursday to watch the Broncos take on the Jets, not me. Anyway.
Yeah, when Marissa, who I went on a date with last night, and I were talking, and she's like, "I'm available Thursday." I went and looked. I was like, "Broncos, Jets." Yeah, I don't care. I'm going on a date with a beautiful woman before I'm watching the Broncos and Jets. I'm sorry.
Fam, we outie on this one. Anyway,
I did, however, watch. I got home for like the last 5 to 10 minutes, so I saw from when the Jets got a pick 6 until the end, and that's all I got. We'll talk more about it next on Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll talk about it when it actually matters, when we have to talk about it. We'll avoid talking about that game as long as possible. But yeah, Martin, you take it from the top, man. You hit the schedule up, and you start off with a breakdown, and we can talk about these a little bit. It's week 4. Don't worry, guys. The marathon of football is about to slow down because people have week 5 buys.
Yep.
I've never been so excited for bye weeks until we started doing this show where we got to talk about every single game in depth. Got to do so much research. But yeah, Martin, what you got, man? Where are we starting?
Well, I thought you put this in an order on purpose because you really want me to talk about the Arizona Cardinals. So first on the Ashton's list here is Arizona traveling to the East Coast, taking on the Carolina Panthers. I guess we'll just go through the noon kickoffs first, and we'll just start with this one. Arizona coming off a tough loss to the Detroit Lions. The Panthers, on the other hand, they're coming in here with a win finally on the season. Um, this is another. This is a test. This is a test of just where are the Cardinals exactly. They're going to be without Buda Baker, one of their best defenders.
Hey, you guys hear that shakiness in his voice, right?
Hey, they lost
You
to the
got
Lions.
everybody,
You have to be like they played
everybody.
poorly as well.
You hear that nervousness in his voice. Get ready for the excuses on Tuesday if they
No,
lose to the Panthers.
I didn't have any excuses against the Lions. I mean, Kyler Murray threw 3 interceptions. If he throws 3 interceptions against the Panthers, they're going to lose again, guaranteed.
So yeah, we my thing to take away from this, man, everything has been like statistically very average for the Cardinals. They're sitting at like the middle of the pack in pretty much every single offensive category, and they're below average in defensive categories. My thing is just like, bruh, like the Panthers and Martin. Maybe you tell me they're the best of the worst teams, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. They play everybody tough, and that's the thing. The Cardinals are you can't go in what I think like you can't go in what they did with the Lions and think they're gonna automatically get the W because of their first 2 games of the season and the fact that the Lions were on an 11-game losing streak. The Panthers are totally different. The Panthers are got a good coach in Matt Rule. Teddy Bridgewater is he's not bad. He's not a bad quarterback. Mike Davis is
One could even argue he's improving as
yeah.
the season goes on.
This is a good offense for Teddy Bridgewater. Mike Davis proven that Christian McCaffrey might be a system running back.
Oh yeah, sure. Yep, we all believe that. Yep.
The wide receiving core is playing all right. The defense is solid. So the Cardinals have a tough test on their hand. However, Ashton in the pick 'em, you already know who I'm going. I'm going Arizona.
I just want to point out something really important about this game. It's not actually this game. It's the next 3 games. So the Cardinals' next 3 games, they play the Jets, which of course. So let me lay out the emotional roller coaster. So this weekend they come out here, they lose to the Panthers because I'm taking the Panthers. They come out here, they lose to the Panthers. Martin questions his very existence as a football fan. On Tuesday's episode, when we talk about the Week 4 recap, and then they go up against the Jets. They probably throw out like 40. They throw up 40 points on the Jets, and you think, oh man, I'm back in. Kyler Murray's about to run this shit. Kyler Murray for MVP. Kyler Murray, first team All NFL, first team All Pro, Pro Bowl quarterback. They're ready to go to the playoffs. Remember, Martin also picked them to win the Super Bowl.
No. So, I picked the Steelers to win the Super Bowl.
I said he picked them to play in the Super Bowl.
Yes, I predicted them to go to the Super Bowl. Steelers Cardinals, a rematch of one of the better Super Bowls we've had in recent memory. So
they take the L against the Panthers. They take the dub against the Jets. Naturally, I'm unimpressed. And then they play the Cowboys, the Seahawks, and then they got to go play one of the deadliest quarterbacks in the game, Ryan Fitzpatrick. I smell 3 losses. I smell 3 L's in a row.
All right.
I see it. Then they play the Bills. Then they play the Seahawks again. Then they play the Patriots. Then they play the Rams, the Giants, and the Eagles. God damn it, Martin. They're not even gonna get over 500.
All right,
anyway,
we'll see. We'll have to see about that one. That's a tough call to make this early in the season. I think they're better than you give them credit for. The running game, Kenyon Drake. I've read somewhere at the start of the season he claimed to be he's going to be the number 1 running back in fantasy. I do need to see more out of Kenyon Drake. Obviously, the passing game is almost basically clicking on all cylinders. The defense, without Buda Baker, it's going to be interesting to see how the secondary and how they actually use Isaiah Simmons. I like the Arizona chances in just about every game. Kyler Murray's the type of quarterback that could put the team on his back, but also the type of quarterback that can lose you the week, as he just proved against the Lions. So, yeah, give me Arizona in this one. Next here on the list, Ashton, the Jaguars at the Bengals. I really don't have much to say about this one.
oh man,
two teams I
think the Jags are too good for the Bengals to beat them. That's my wild part. That's the wildest thing I can take. Like, I look at what the Jags have done, and I'm like, man, they're not bad. Like, they're not bad. They're like they're a good bad team.
Apparently, the Bengals, however, Las Vegas has the Bengals as the favorite.
Yeah, I think it's because the Bengals have shown far more consistency than the Jags have. Also, a lot of people buying in on that Joe Burrow hype, which
Yeah.
means don't forget, guys, they're trying to set the line to entice people to bet. It's not necessarily they're trying to entice people to bet and then make sure that they cover the bet that they get the most money out of it. So, like sometimes the favorite will literally be the favorite because they know that's what people want to see, and they're like, oh, it'll get people to bet. They're like, I like Joe Burrow. I think the Bengals can beat him. I'll take the Jags.
See, I just don't. I don't know. I'm not impressed with the
All
Jaguars. The
right, Martin. Let me
Bengals.
ask you. Let me ask you a simple question. Let me ask you this one. Do you think the Jaguars are better than the Browns?
No.
You don't think the Jaguars are better than the Browns?
I think I would if the Browns and Jags were playing, I'd pick the Browns.
That's an interesting choice there.
I
I
think the
get
Browns
what you
have the
mean when
better defense and better offensive players, minus maybe the
so
quarterback.
you shouldn't have a problem with picking the Bengals then.
That's what I was literally about to get to that because the Bengals haven't played bad in any of their games. 16-13 the Chargers, 35-30 Browns, and of course they tied, technically won against the Eagles because the Eagles were the team that played for the tie in that one. Give me the 0-2-1 Bengals beating the Jacksonville Jaguars in Cincinnati. That's going to be an interesting game to watch in the noon kickoffs. So Ashton, next team on the list, the Cleveland Browns traveling to Texas to take on the Dallas Cowboys. You're
Oh
all in
man,
on Dak Prescott. You think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, going
I
up
didn't
against
say all
Myles
that,
Garrett.
man.
We can
Like
go back to some tape that you are
you're
you're a homer
no
for
you,
Dak Prescott. We can
your
agree on that one.
argument. Your argument has been that Dak Prescott's not good, and I disagree.
No. My argument is he's full of like empty stats. Like he puts up 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, and his team loses by 3. Like
Well, guess what,
that's my
Martin?
argument.
Empty stats will win you a game versus the Browns.
Yeah,
So
that's literally what I was gonna say. I can't pick the
yeah,
Browns in this one, Ashton. Even though they're 2-1, the Cowboys are 1-2. The Cowboys have actually, dare I say, played well in all 3 games.
I mean they played competitively with one of, if not the best team in the NFL with the Seattle
Yeah,
Seahawks. I will say this: the defensive presence of the Cowboys has been spotty at best.
yeah.
They played well against the Seahawks, who historically have offensive line problems. The Browns are drifting further and further away from the light of the Lord, that is the passing game. So they are becoming a run dominant team. And it'll be interesting to see how tired that defensive line gets, because
Yep.
they could get worn down from trying to compete against the Browns the whole time in terms of like stopping the run game, and then all of a sudden now Baker Mayfield's got way more time in the pocket than he's accustomed to, and we all know this, Martin. Like Baker Mayfield's decision making a lot of the time has been hinging upon his time in the pocket, right?
Yeah.
So more time in the pocket for a guy, even if you think he's a bad quarterback, we know that Baker Mayfield can make decisions when given time. So that's where I'll go on that one. I'll also point out the Cleveland Browns have played absolutely garbage competition.
That is true.
Just atrocious competition. And the Cowboys have played some of the best.
Here's the thing, Ashton. The Dallas Cowboys are one onside kick / crazy comeback away from being 0-3, despite they're kind of put them in the Texans boat. They've played really good teams and could have not won a single one of those, losing to, of course, the Rams was the pass interference controversy at the end. But the Seahawks, you and I talked about this on Tuesday, they were a DK Metcalf mistake away from this being a blowout.
Being a 2-score game.
That's a blowout in the NFL.
They lost by 1 touchdown.
Yeah, I think 2 touchdowns is a blowout in the NFL these days. They could be 0-3. The Bengals, like you said, have 2 wins against 2 teams, and when they played the Ravens, got absolutely smashed. However, Ashton, I'm feeling it. I'm going with the Cleveland Browns.
Oh man.
I'm going with the Cleveland Browns.
Your
your argument about their run game and the fact that they can control the clock now. I can't believe I'm picking Baker Mayfield, but
I will say this, Martin. You should probably remember how I broke down what the Browns did on Tuesday.
Yeah.
If you remember when we talked about it, they got 5 turnovers in a game and got a 2-touchdown win.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
They
I don't
took
know.
away they took away the Washington football teams. They took away a fourth of their possessions and got a 2-touchdown win.
Oh my
I don't
God,
call
am
that.
I gonna? I can't. I don't know. Can I not like? Wait,
You
I don't.
have to. You said the Browns. You said the Browns. We're moving on. Moving on. No, I'm just kidding.
Hold
Go
on.
ahead,
Let
man.
me see how
Work
many
it out.
yards.
He's the mental gymnastics he takes to figure out how the Browns can win the game should be evident enough that they're not going to win the game. They have shown you nothing. But if you want to take the Browns off like some fluke stuff, go right ahead, man.
The
Also,
Cowboys are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They are the 10th worst rushing defense through these couple of games.
great podcasting right here.
I just can't. Well, here's the thing. It's the fucking Cowboys. It's the fucking Browns. I don't like either team. I don't really like either quarterback.
Why does like what you like or not like relate
Because
to?
it goes into. I'm going the Browns. Fuck it. I know the Cowboys are going to win this game by 100, but give me the Browns, man. Give me the good running team. They're fine. I think they're figuring it out. The Dallas Cowboys they're kind of a joke. Let's move on. I'm going Browns. You're going what? Cowboys?
Yeah, definitely going Cowboys.
All right. Saints at Lions is next here on the list. The New Orleans
All right,
Saints.
I got this one. This is a layup right here. The
Yep.
Lions are last in the NFL. I'm sorry, second to last in the NFL for pressures and for sacks.
Okay.
Drew Brees, for whatever you have to say about him, I think he's gonna have plenty of time to throw that football. Also, other thing to point out here, I thought this is really weird when I was doing my research. Alvin Kamara is 5th in the NFL in receiving yards.
Yep.
Did you see that?
Yep.
And he is also the number one wide receiver for he's the number one player with receiving yards for the New Orleans Saints.
No Michael Thomas. No Michael Thomas. Remember, he's out. He officially got ruled out today.
Yeah, no, Michael Thomas is literally like he's nothing. He has nowhere near the amount. He has 17 yards from game 1 of the season.
Yeah, he's.
Alvin Kamara has almost 200 yards receiving, I think.
Yeah, if you've got Michael Thomas in fantasy, make sure you get him out of your lineup. He's not playing this week, so.
Alvin Kamara is the number one wide receiver and number one running back for the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
Which, Detroit Lions, do with that information what you will. Also, the Lions specialize in not actually rushing the quarterback, which is interesting. They legit are like about lane integrity over getting sacks because they don't want to give up like excess yards. But I would say, 50-yard passes down the field are also excess yards. Jeff Okudah is going to have to match up with Traquan Smith, which will be the easiest matchup he's had all season because he's had to play, I think, game 1, they played the Bears, so he had to play Allen Robinson, and he played DeAndre Hopkins, and then he was also up against Devontae Adams. Or he was up against, no, it was Devontae Adams. It was still Devontae Adams. This is the easiest matchup. Jeff Okudah, the young star cornerback who got an interception off of a pass intended for DeAndre Hopkins, by the way. It was pretty impressive. I actually got a chance to see the highlight, and I was like, one, he was still like within 2 yards of DeAndre Hopkins after he made his cut, which if you know anything about DeAndre Hopkins, if he makes his cut, he's also pushing you 10 yards away from him. So he's actually 20 yards open when he gets out of his break. Anyway, I find this impressive. I think this game's gonna be a lot closer. By the way, the line is like 4.5 points, Martin.
Yep.
So sketchy. I'll still be taking the Saints.
All right, here's the thing. The Lions are just coming off of a huge win over the Cardinals. They finally held on in the fourth quarter. The Saints, however, have been up and down. We've talked about it on Tuesday. They play to their competition so far. They have, and they haven't really played well at all. Drew Brees is struggling to say the least. No Michael Thomas. The Lions have Adrian Peterson as their main guy now at running back. They got Matthew Stafford, Kenny Golladay. I think I'm gonna.
Lawrence talking himself into all the dogs. I know.
I'm going Detroit at home to beat the Saints, Ashton. I can't believe I just said that out loud, and I'm gonna go with it. Ashton has officially left the building, guys. Matt.
I'm back.
He's back. Ashton, I think the Lions have actually played better than the Saints through 3 games. I can't believe I'm saying that out loud.
Mainly
Here's the thing.
Not true.
They've had big leads in the 2 losses that they had, right? And then they blew it. Then they had a lead in the Cardinals and held on to it. The Saints, you and I are both in agreement, play to their competition, so they're not going to be playing well. I really have picked all the underdogs so far, except for the Bengals. I can't believe I'm doing this, dude. Give me the fucking Lions.
Oh my God, Martin is hurting himself. I can see it in his face.
This is gonna be the week.
Separator week in the
yeah, I was gonna say this is gonna be the week that Ashton probably overtakes me if my picks go south, and then we're gonna be battling back for the rest of the season because week 4, I decided to fucking buy in on the Browns, Bengals, and fucking. Oh my God! All right, let's move on to the next game. This is one Ashton, I believe, didn't put at the top of the list because he doesn't want to talk about it because he knows what's going to happen. The Minnesota Vikings are coming down to Houston in a game where we talked about on Tuesday. All 3 of the Texans coaches in their history will be in the same building. 2 of them got fired and ran out of town. One of them's almost there, Ashton. And you still, for some reason, are. This is your game, right? You've said it since week 1.
Like you look at it logically, the Texans should dominate this game. But go ahead. I'm actually not gonna give a breakdown. I'm gonna just let y'all watch and see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you watch. I'm gonna let all the viewers that are out there just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. I'm taking the Texans. Go ahead, Martin.
All right, so at the start of the season, Ashton, I will give you the 4 games that I thought the Texans were going to win. The Jaguars twice, the Browns, and the Lions. And maybe the Bengals. Okay, so maybe the Bengals late in the season. At the start, when I first saw the schedule, I said the Minnesota Vikings were going to beat the Houston Texans. Before the season even started, when the schedule was released, way back when we found out they were playing a number 1 schedule, and through 3 weeks, they have proved they are not a good football team. They have played competently on offense at times. They have played atrociously the whole time on defense. Minnesota finally had a wake-up game last week. Finally. And here's where I think the game is going to be won and lost. The running game for Minnesota against the running defense of the Houston Texans. They are the worst rushing defense through 3 weeks of the season. Dalvin Cook is not a pushover. Kirk Cousins, you literally just have to manage the game. You already know where I'm going with this one, Ashton. I'm ticking the Vikings to make the Texans go 0-4 so you can finally come on board with everybody else that the Texans are not good this year. And Bill O'Brien, unfortunately, your run as the Houston Texans head coach, you're going to get run out of town just like Dom Capers and Gary Kubiak.
I'm glad I was able to get a quick nap in there while you were trying to explain the demise of the Houston Texans. Anyway, man, we move on to the next.
Wait, who are you picking?
I'm not. I already told you I'm picking the Houston Texans. Yeah. So yeah, go ahead, man. I don't have to explain it. You know what? I tried to help y'all. I really did. I tried to put you up on game. Y'all don't want to listen. So I guess you're gonna have to learn. Go ahead, Martin. Next game, please.
Well, hold on. Let me just look at one of these stats real quick, just to see something.
Oh, now he
no. I'm just looking. So points against. Who's giving up more points? The Vikings have given up more points. Points scored. The Vikings have scored averaging a touchdown more than the Texans. I'm just looking at the random stats.
Would you like to point at the competition?
No, it's fine. It is what it is.
I'm just wondering. Go ahead. No, go.
No, it's fine.
I'm done educating you guys. I tried to help you. I tried to save you. I really did. But go ahead, Martin.
Look,
go ahead.
One of us is gonna. Here's the thing. One of us is gonna be gloating, and one of us is gonna be pissed off on Tuesday after this game. And I am more confident in me gloating and you finally coming on board. Because you have said if they lose to the Vikings, you will be off the bandwagon and you will join us. Frosty's not in the chat so far today. He might be there. He might be still at work. Who knows where he's at on?
Still lurking.
I'm surprised we haven't had a Texans trash in the chat.
He's gonna be real quiet.
Yeah,
he knows. No, y'all nervous. I know you're nervous.
I'm not nervous. I'm not. I know. I know for a fact.
All right, we going to the next.
I know for a fact. Dalvin Cook. I haven't even said it yet. Dalvin Cook's gonna go off for over 200 yards in this game. Just chalk that one on the board. Win or
All
lose,
right.
Dalvin Cook's popping off. Give me the fucking Vikings.
Go ahead, Martin.
Oh, next on the list, I accidentally. Okay, let me bring it back. Okay, Seahawks at Dolphins. The Dolphins coming off that pretty
It's gonna be a
dominant
remake of the
performance.
Cove out there. If you ever seen that, it's about dolphin hunting.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
the Dolphins coming off a impressive, I would say, victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars.
31-13 is very impressive.
Yep,
It was
especially
never in
when
question.
Yeah, especially when we thought the Dolphins were the worst team going into that one. They're coming, unfortunately, have to go against the powerhouse that is Russell Wilson and the Seahawks offense. No Chris Carson, I believe, so maybe that's a little bit of a
Oh,
beneficial to the Dolphins.
here's a free one. Yeah, this is a
Yeah,
free win,
this is a
guys.
free.
Pick the Seahawks on this one.
Yeah,
This is the easiest offense that the Seahawks have had to play against. I mean, that's pretty much it. Like, I don't know what else to tell you on that one, man. This is the easiest offense the Seahawks have had to play against. Shaquem Griffin is going to be defending maybe Devontae Parker if he plays, because he's had a hamstring injury. So we'll see how that goes. Other than that, it's Fitzmagic doing his thing again. We'll see if he can pull it off one more time. But you know how the magic works. Sometimes you got to recharge the wand.
yeah.
Sometimes the rabbit doesn't come out of the hat. Sometimes it's nothing.
Yeah,
But yeah, go ahead, Martin.
6 games in, Ashley, and we finally are in agreement on one. And of course, it's a layup. This one, if the Seahawks somehow lose this one, do you get worried about your Super Bowl pick, or do you just put it up to the Dolphins playing well?
You know what I get worried about the Seahawks being my Super Bowl pick? If they're ever down at some point during the Super Bowl. So, yeah.
All right.
Go ahead, Mark.
All right. So that one was quick and easy. The Dolphins, so yeah, they are who they are. I still think they should just lose every game so that they can have 2 top 10 draft picks, and when the Texans don't win a lot of games this season. We move on. The Baltimore Ravens coming off a lackluster first half performance and a decent second half performance against the Chiefs, taking on the Washington football team in Washington. Ashton, this is another.
Get the train ready. It's time to run them over.
Yeah, this one's not gonna even get. This one, if this one's within a touchdown, Ron Rivera should be in the discussion for Coach of the Year. He already should be for what he's fucking going through while coaching with the cancer diagnosis and everything. But yeah, this one, Baltimore Ravens, they got one of the best rushing offenses. However, when they're behind,
and no Chase Young.
Yeah, no Chase Young as well.
For Washington, yeah.
If Washington somehow gets a lead at halftime, then I'll be interested. But the chances of that happening are like,
you know what's gonna happen in this game, right?
Oh, the Washington will somehow turn it on and figure everything out.
No. Oh, no. This is Dwayne Haskins' last stand.
Oh, then we're going to will we see Kyle Allen by the end of this game?
Guys, if Dwayne Haskins throws an interception, he will have thrown 4 interceptions in 2 games.
Yeah.
And he's going up against one of the best secondaries in the NFL.
Yeah.
Good
luck.
Just a thought.
Good luck, kid. Moving on. I think we're both taking the Ravens on that one, right, Ashton?
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to the next game. Oh my God! I just clicked on the wrong thing again. Sorry for anybody listening on Twitch that just heard that random noise. The Los Angeles Chargers flying over to the East Coast, a noon kickoff for a West Coast team, taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
The Chargers.
Go Chargers, go.
Go Chargers, go.
I'm not picking the Chargers in this one, Ashton. I think the Buccaneers' defense is better. The offense, if you're giving me Tom Brady or Justin Herbert, I'm going. This is another one of those get right games for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're slowly starting to click, slowly but surely. Their 2 wins haven't really been that impressive. They've beat the Broncos and the Panthers, and then lost to the Saints. So who knows? But give me the Buccaneers in this one.
Well, yeah, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just so happen to specialize in the one thing that is the absolute mortal enemy of rookie quarterbacks: pressure.
Yep.
Pressure. Shaquille Barrett, one of the best linebackers in the NFL, baby. And he was all over your boy Drew Lock before he got hurt in that game when they played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a couple weeks ago. We saw what happened when they have a mutual opponent. We saw what happened when the Buccaneers played the Panthers. That was a divisional game, and it was kind of close because of that. But the Chargers went out there and weren't able to hang with the Panthers. So it's hard for me to believe that they're going to hang with the Buccaneers. But you know how the NFL goes. What happened last week means nothing most times in situations like this.
Like they play the Chiefs to fucking overtime and then are just
struggle,
not even the same team.
Lose.
Like not even the same looking team against the Panthers. One of those weird ass teams.
What? Rookie quarterbacks, inconsistency. is like their best friend. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Inconsistency. Also, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense is significantly better than the Panthers.
Yeah.
Significantly better than what the Panthers are out here bringing. And still, I'm going with the Buccaneers on this one, just off face of the strength of their defense, man. Because the Buccaneers are like one of the best in the game, and they keep proving it every single week, man.
Same here. Going with the Bucks. This one, we got 2 more noon kickoff games to discuss. The Pittsburgh Steelers heading to Tennessee. Oh wait, no, never mind. This game has been canceled. I was just gonna go in. It's been postponed. I was about to just go break down this game as if it's actually happening. We move on. Do we have to pick that one in our pick 'em, or
No,
they
it's not in here.
Okay, they removed it. All right, so we'll be talking about that one. Was it week 7 when they actually are gonna?
Week 7.
Yeah, so we'll put that one on pause. The final noon game for the slate, the Indianapolis Colts going to play Big Dick Nick and the Chicago Bears in Chicago. Ashton, you have been anti-Indianapolis.
Expose them. Yeah. Expose the Colts for the frauds that they are.
Yeah, any game that Big Dick Nick is coming in, give me Big Dick Nick. He's for some reason he's got the it factor on teams that shouldn't really be. I mean, the Bears are 3-0, Ashton. People forget, like, they've somehow won every single 3 games so far this season, despite having Mitchell Trubisky as quarterback. The Colts, however, 2-1. Was it the loss of the Jaguars? Just smashed the Jets last week, and then they get to play the Vikings. So this is technically
smashed the Jets by scoring 20 offensive points, by the way.
Yeah.
Everything else came on defense.
This is their toughest test of the season so far. It's going to be the Bears defensive line going up against the Indianapolis offensive line. If you're into the trenches and all that stuff, this is one of the games it's kind of intriguing to me because, I mean,
DeForest Buckner.
Yeah, I mean, Ashton sent me a video of DeForest Buckner, one-hand bull rushing.
He got him with the one-arm stab, baby. Khalil Mack almost does it on a yearly basis against Eric Fisher for some reason. But yeah, DeForest Buckner at 6'8" got a one-arm stab off, which means that the offensive lineman not only reeled back, but when he regained where he was 17 feet away from where DeForest Buckner was going, which, quarterbacks need help. Quarterbacks need protection from guys like DeForest Buckner. That did not happen. Sam Darnold took a banging on that one. But yeah, man, DeForest Buckner's beasting. Autry's out there beasting too. They've been getting all kinds of pressure, which of course helps when you're going up against a quarterback who's technically in his second year in the NFL, and Sam Darnold, right? So it's one of those things, man. This is gonna be an interesting one because I'm wondering how the Bears defense is going to hold up against the Colts style of offense, because it really makes me think they're about to come out here and cruise on the Colts, man. Like, for real. I feel it that they're about. By the way, Nick Foles needs to change his number because he wears number 9 in Chicago.
Oh, Jay Cutler.
Rex Grossman.
Oh, Rex Grossman. Oh, I thought you were going with Jay Cutler, but Jay Cutler was number 6, I believe. So I don't even.
Yeah.
David Montgomery, it'll be interesting to see how he goes up against the Indianapolis Colts defense. But this is the toughest game for both teams so far. The Bears, Lions, I played the Lions, Giants, Falcons, so none of those teams are really scary. And maybe the Falcons, I guess. But second half, it is what it is for the Falcons. They're not too good in the second half. The Bears, I just think they're a better team than the Colts, even though I was high on the Colts early. I haven't liked what I've seen personally from the Colts in 3 of their games. T.Y. Hilton is a shell of himself. I have him in every fantasy league I'm a part of this year, and he's on the bench now in all 3 games. I'm actually debating this week, Ashton, now that Michael Thomas is out. We talk fantasy real quick. So I have Michael Thomas out. These are my 2 options for wide receiver on the bench. T.Y. Hilton or Cole Beasley.
Yeah, you go Cole Beasley.
Yeah, and it's in a PPR, so I mean it's a little bit easier of a pick.
First of all, y'all gonna have to stop disrespecting Cole Beasley. The general public of y'all, because a lot of people don't appreciate what he was able to do when John Brown was number 1 wide receiver. Josh Allen had like the utmost faith that Cole Beasley was gonna be there for him no matter what happened, and he showed it. I mean, he was there for him the whole time, man. So Cole is also really good over the middle. So if it's a little soft, or a team that likes to blitz a lot, the middle of the field is a really wide open space typically. But yeah, Cole Beasley. We'll talk about the Bills here, man. Is that why you brought him up? Or are you just trying
No, I'm just talking.
Trying to transition to a Bills game. I was like,
well, we know we've got Bills next on the list. I'm just saying I don't have Michael Thomas and have to make the decision between T.Y.
Yeah,
Hilton and Cole Beasley. Like that. That's how
I take my
bad
chances
T.Y.
on.
Hilton's been this year.
Yeah, I take my chances just because I have more faith right now in Josh Allen than I do in Philip Rivers.
Yeah.
So,
Give me the Bears in this matchup against the Colts. Who you taking?
oh yeah, I'm taking the Bears,
All right.
100%.
Now we go
The
to
Bears.
the Bears. Now we go to the late kickoff or like the afternoon kickoffs. I guess you want to. I mean, all of them are afternoon
The
kickoffs, but
midday,
the midday games.
the nap games, the
We've got
nap games.
three on. We've got only 3 games to choose from here. So the Bills at the Raiders. Buffalo. Apparently, everyone's all in on Josh Allen. He's the second coming of Jesus. The guy can apparently throw the ball and do nothing wrong. Going up against the Las Vegas Raiders, playing in Allegiant Stadium for the second time. Where the last time we saw them in Las Vegas, they put a stamp down on the Saints. Ashton, who are you leaning in this one?
So this one comes down to the pure fact of uh, the play variance for the Raiders is very limited. Like what they're capable of doing with their offense, because we're also in a situation where Henry Ruggs is probably not going to play, which probably means Derek Carr is going to be back up to his old tricks of only taking things from 15 yards in, or unless it's wide open. But yeah, Josh Jacobs and the Raiders just came off a really rough outing, man. But the Bills, man, they've proven time and time again. I'm not here to say that Josh Allen is bad. I'm just saying he's not as good as y'all try and hype him up to be. And he let it's difficult, man. But I'll take the Bills just off the pure fact that the Bills have been far more consistent than the Raiders have been, and the consistency helps me understand what they're going to go into this game doing. I understand that the Raiders do come out here and get this win. It would be hard. That would be a big win for the Raiders. It would be a big win for them in this season to go up against the Bills and be able to win that one. The Bills' defense isn't as elite as it used to be, but the loss on the defense has been made up for some of the explosiveness on the offense. And I will say this: the Raiders just lost their one of their draft picks, wide receiver Damon Arnett. He's on IR, and that's a lot of. I mean, I don't know if you guys know this or not. Stephon Diggs likes green spaces, likes green grass, and he will get upfield, no doubt about it. I feel like this is gonna be a another big game for the Bills, man, and get them on a roll.
I don't know. I I don't think the Bills are frauds, Ashton. I just think they have gotten a little
They're just
lucky.
not elite. They're not elite.
They beat the Jets and Dolphins, barely beat the Dolphins by 3 points. They almost blew a lead against the Rams. Needed a decent last second effort at the end from their offense.
And a sketchy pass interference call. So
yeah, but the loss, like you just mentioned, the Raiders just lost their cornerback. He's going on IR. I believe I'm trying to pull up their official injury report here. Trent Brown is doubtful. Henry Ruggs is doubtful. Their defensive tackle is going to be out. If they were healthy, I would go the Raiders here. But dude, I just don't believe in the Bills though.
You don't have to
do I really think the
this
Bills are
for
going to be
them
4? All right, fuck it. I'm picking the Bills just because of the injuries the Raiders have. I'm going to say it right now. I won't be surprised if the Raiders win this game and win it easily. We move on to the next. This one is the Giants and the Rams. Ashton, do we have to say anything about this game except the Rams are going to fucking pour it on?
It's field day, baby.
It's going to be over by halftime. This game, I mean, it'll probably be over in the end of the first quarter once the Rams score their first touchdown. The Giants are. It's either the Giants or
it's gonna be one of those experimental days. Like Sean McVay's just gonna walk in. He's like, guys, I drew up like 15 new plays, and we're just gonna run them consecutively.
Yep.
And then as they finish the 15 plays to start the game off, they come over to the sideline because they're obviously up 21-0 at this point. They come over to the sideline. He calls a timeout, and they're like, "Yo, coach, why'd you call a timeout? We're up by so much." I'm like, don't worry about that. I just actually drew this play on a napkin. I want you to run this.
Yeah.
And it's like a triple reverse to Jared Goff and a throwback over to Malcolm Brown, who will then subsequently somehow get Sean McVay to throw the touchdown pass. And you're like, there's no rules against it. Let's figure it out. All right, break.
Yeah. We thought the Dolphins were the team tanking, or not really. I was gonna say tanking for Travis, but they tanked for Tua. So the Giants are officially on tanking for Trevor watch. Get to draft Trevor Lawrence first overall in this year's draft, and Danny
Look out for
Dimes.
the sack. Look out for the sack numbers, bro. The
Yeah,
sack numbers should be crazy in this one because Daniel Jones, if he does nothing else, he turns the ball over and he gets hit.
yep.
So go ahead.
Aaron Darnold, he could have a career day on this one. Just give me the Rams by 100.
All right, we got 3 games left, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
3 games left. This one is probably going to be the game of the week. The Patriots traveling to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Bill Belichick gets his stab at stopping the high-powered offense that is Patrick Mahomes and
And
Tyreek
Andy
Hill
Reid
and
faces
Andy
his
Reid.
nemesis.
Yep.
Andy Reid faces his old nemesis,
Cam Newton gets
Sleeveless Bill.
Cam Newton, the old guard of the dual threat quarterbacks, going up against the new guard, one of the new guards of the dual threat quarterbacks in the league with Patrick Mahomes and Cam Newton. This one should be pretty
A game that
exciting.
hinges upon the success of Rex Burkhead, Martin, just like we all suspected this season.
um, uh, the Patriots have
Tell you
played
what,
well in
man.
all 3 of their games. They're 1 yard away from being undefeated. Um, and this is without half their defense opting out as well. I gotta remember that they're playing with. I mean, it's Bill Belichick, so it's just next man up, and he can figure it out. But they completely dominated the Raiders. They beat the Dolphins soundly. Lost to the Seahawks. The Chiefs, on the other hand, have kind of just walked over all 3 of their opponents so far. I mean, or not really. The Chargers in overtime, but the 2 other games, the
Hey,
Texans and
dude,
Ravens.
dude, the Chiefs have had like the king of the hill of the dual threat quarterbacks, man. Like
Yep.
the Deshaun Watson game, the Lamar Jackson game, now Cam Newton. Do they play they got to play Russell Wilson at some point during the season, right? Like there's got
No,
to be like
no,
the
there's no
ultimate king of the hill guy. Oh, you know when they play each other, right?
in the Super
Super
Bowl.
Bowl.
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
uh,
The
here,
ultimate king of the hill match. Who is the greatest of the dual threats?
Ashton, here's the weird stat of the day. The Chiefs have given up 20 points in all 3 of their matchups and scored 34 in 2 of them. That is
Yeah.
that is just interesting to look at. Like
It's wild to see that their defense is playing this well this early on in the season, especially since it was such a big issue at the end of last year, right? It was like not the end of last year, but going into the regular season, people were speculating they were like one of the worst defenses going into the playoffs, and they heated up. They got it cooking, man. And it's not like now the stuff they're doing now isn't even Tyrann Mathieu, bro. It's like legit people were playing like Chris Jones is getting pressure up the middle, which by the way, if there's anybody who knows how to manipulate a high sack defensive tackle, it's definitely going to be Bill Belichick. I'm taking the Patriots.
taking the Patriots. I think
Yeah, man.
I think obviously like I'm like 51-49 leaning towards the Chiefs because I could see the Patriots stopping that offense. Bill Belichick knows what he's fucking doing, obviously. Cam Newton. I think
Yeah,
I'm going to
man.
take.
So like my thing is the one thing their offense has like true option read in it where technically nobody knows what's going to happen on the play except Cam Newton, and I think that'll help them out a lot in terms of like throwing off the pressure that the Kansas City Chiefs can send. Like the stuff that was happening to Lamar Jackson it was becoming very obvious when they were dropping back and passing as opposed to running the football, and the constant threat of always getting the ball off the field. And then sometimes, man, I like what the Patriots are doing, man. When it comes down to fist fight and get the yards up the field, Patriots, they put the boxing gloves on. They don't put the hand wraps on. They're like, well, I mean, you got to get out the way because we need this first down. And I think that that's going to play big when this is all said and done. So
This is here. So since I'm so close on both teams, because New England lost on the road in Seattle and they're going on the road to Kansas City, I'm picking the Chiefs simply because if this game was in Foxborough, I'd be picking New England. That's where I'm at with this game because it's so even. I think just because of the mastermind of Bill Belichick, just because the defense has played so well for the Patriots, but the Chiefs' offense is is on a different level right now. So give me the Chiefs at home. If this game was in New England, I would pick New England. Now we're on to the Sunday night football game here. Ashton, 2 more to go before we get into our UFC nickname picks. The San Francisco 49ers are hosting the 0-3, technically really 0-1, but should be 0-3 Philadelphia Eagles. I guarantee when NBC planned this game, they did not think that Philadelphia would be in the situation they are right now.
Yeah, man. Is it true the whole Jalen Hurts thing starting? Is that like official or?
I haven't seen any. I haven't seen it either way.
Yeah, hold on a second. I gotta double check on that because I think I saw something about that.
Well, while you check on that, Ashton, I can give my breakdown on either quarterback that's playing. It's not. I mean, yeah, Wentz hasn't played well, but it's the defense of the Eagles and the wide receiving core of the Eagles that's kind of been their downfall so far. The 49ers, yeah, they're injured severely. Jimmy Garoppolo, I believe, is going to try and give it. No, never mind. 4 hours ago, Jimmy Garoppolo has been ruled out, so it is not going to be him. George Kittle is going to be available. Deebo Samuel will be available. So that means, was it Nick Mullins? What was the nickname we gave him on Tuesday? Mid Dick Nick, because he's one step below Big Dick Nick Folds. Give me the San Francisco 49ers, no matter who they have at quarterback, because I think Philadelphia, they're in the Texans boat. They're just not good this season. They're struggling despite being in like a major sports town. And I could only imagine, like you and I talked pre-show about how bad sports radio is in Houston right now. I could only imagine what's going on in Philadelphia with with Doug Peterson playing for a tie against the Cincinnati Bengals. Like, I don't think I could pick Philadelphia any game this year except against the Giants, simply because their coach would rather punt in overtime than give his team a chance to win. So give me the 49ers, even if it'll be a close game, maybe, but I don't see it being close.
So the Eagles haven't confirmed anything like that. They are not. As far as we know, they have not confirmed that Jalen Hurts is going to be starting. It actually makes no sense. But yeah, overall, it's definitely one of those situations where I look at it and I'm just kind of like, yo, there's almost, other than the fact that they have a backup quarterback starting and Nick Mullins is going out there, what other aspect of this do the Eagles have? So let me break this down for you. The Eagles yesterday at practice had one wide receiver.
Yeah, Deshaun Jackson's out. Already being officially out for tomorrow night, and Alshon Jeffrey.
Martin, you know what that means, right?
Yeah, you texted me. Hakeem Butler might start.
Hakeem Butler from he's from Baltimore, but played for Travis, might be starting on Sunday. He signed to the Eagles practice squad a couple days ago, and if there was ever an opportunity, you know what I mean? That's all we're talking about here, man. It just seems so like this game is going to be so lopsided just off the fact that the 49ers specialize in pressure. The last every game this season, they have thrown 2 interceptions. And even with the 49ers with a backup at that position, they still have people who are running their offense to perfection. And also they have way worse injury problems than the 49ers do, even though George Kittle is coming back. It makes me, you know what? God damn it. Give me the Eagles. I believe because it makes too much sense for the 49ers to come out here and just steamroll the Eagles. And if there was ever a game when the Eagles are most desperate, that's when they play their absolute best. Okay. So that's where it makes no sense how they're going to win. They got no wide receivers. They got a quarterback whose confidence is probably broken into a million pieces in the quarterback room while they're breaking down film. Everything is going wrong. It can't get much worse, except it could. But maybe it won't. I believe.
All right, I'm going 49ers. You're going Eagles on the Sunday night football game. We got the Monday night football game, which, like I just said with NBC, ESPN probably did not expect the Atlanta Falcons to be 0-3, and not just 0-3, Ashton. It's the way that they're 0-3, blowing leads.
Oh, they're gonna have
left
some graphics
and
on it,
right.
They're gonna have all kinds of graphics to talk about these blowouts.
I hope they make one for the onside kick, like a cartoon.
The sports science. They got to do the sports science.
That would be great.
To do the hypnotizer is what they're called. They called it on PFF, and then Chris Collinsworth called it. Yeah, they got to talk about that. Get the hypnotizer and break it down scientifically. Also talk about how some of the other onside kicks just don't work because there was one where they spun it and it landed on top, like it landed on the point of the ball and then didn't bounce last week. So anyway, moving on.
Well,
you got what you got? You got.
Well, here's the thing. Do you think Aaron Rodgers will be able to name his 2 to 3 starting wide receivers come game day? Because Allen Lazard is out. Devontae Adams hasn't practiced in fucking 3 weeks. Or limited
everybody
practice.
Knows the other guy. Everybody knows Marquez Vontaze Scantling.
Can you tell me yeah, so we've got MVS, but can you tell me who the next man up would be for the Green Bay Packers if Devontae Adams doesn't go?
Oh man. Didn't they get? No, it's not Brandon Ayuk. He plays for the 49ers. No, you got me. Who you got? Who else?
I had to look.
Who else has caught a pass?
Well, that's the thing. I had to go and look at their depth chart. Not a single one of these wide receivers has caught a pass so far this season, Ashton. MVS, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, has 17 catches, but Devontae Adams might not play.
5 yards last week, by the way. So for all you guys who are thinking he's like some fantasy sleeper, Scantling had 5 yards last week.
So it's going to be a person named Darius Shepard and Malik Taylor. Those are the next 2 men up. They have Devin Funchess, but he is out. They also have Equanimeous St. Brown, but he's on injured reserve. So Aaron Rodgers is going to be throwing the ball to Darius Shepard, Malik Taylor, and Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Oh, by the way, their tight end is somebody named Robert Tonyan. But here's the thing. Aaron Jones has been on another level. The Atlanta Falcons have been losing left and right. I'm still taking the Green Bay Packers, even if they have every single wide receiver out.
I'm calling this one, man. I'm calling the Falcons.
Okay.
I have faith in the faithless. The Atlanta Falcons coming out here getting this dub, man. They have all the tools to be able to succeed. They just got to put it all together. And guess what, guys? It don't matter because obviously Dan Quinn's job is actually not as in much danger as you guys think it is. So he'll be back next week to disappoint more Falcons fans. But yeah, they get this win versus the Packers off the sheer fact of, and I get it. In some cases, injuries don't really weigh as much as we think they do, right? Like we talk about, they didn't, like Allen Lazard had like a couple of really big plays downfield like last week or whatever, and that turned out to be the difference for them versus the Saints. But I think the Falcons are a team that they could get some pressure, and obviously, like we've mentioned before, Matt Ryan operates in a vacuum. It doesn't matter what happens on the field in front of him. He always does exactly the same thing every single time, and they just got to have their defense step up for the first time this entire season. But we'll see. This could be one of those games that mentally breaks your entire season, right, Martin?
Yep.
This could be one of those games you lose in embarrassing fashion, or you lose in a close fashion, and you're just kind of like, yeah, man, like what's the point of competing for the rest of the season? You know what I mean? Like what? Like why are we here? What are we doing? All this kind of stuff like that. I know the Atlanta Falcons have some injury situations, but I'm rooting for chaos, and I will take the Falcons to beat the Green Bay Packers.
I'm going Green Bay. Those are our Week 4 picks, Ashton. We've got one more thing here on the docket, and we can get out of here in pretty decent time. We're under 2 hours right now, Ashton. We got UFC Nickname Picks for the second week of Fight Island 2.0. Hopefully we got some good nicknames on this one. Without going into too much detail about last week's fight between the 2 title fights, I was actually more surprised with Jan and his dominating performance over Dominic Reyes than I was the last Stylebender. Pretty decent card to kick off Fight Island as well, but what were your just a couple of takeaways from the pay-per-view event?
Yo, I liked what I saw out of. Hold on a second. I had the names written down. Oh no. Yeah, it's stupid. I know it's dumb. I saw some great effectiveness across the card as a whole. The 2 ladies that fought were pretty impressive as a whole as well. I saw, didn't see a lot of the knockouts, man, but like the finale with Paulo Costa and of course Israel Adesanya was like really huge for a lot of people because it basically cleaned out anybody who was like legit competition for Stylebender, which now starts a whole conversation. Also, John Bones Jones, as usual, stealing the show because if you are watching UFC bouts, you are also probably hooked into MMA Twitter. And John Bones Jones has been tweeting up a storm about how, he's been talking shit to Last Stylebender and also once again reminding us how you can be a great player but also a shit person. So That's a free lesson, kids. That's a free life lesson for you. So that was interesting, especially considering now the situation Usman and Israel Adesanya find themselves in. I saw there's going to be a big problem. Wow. Cody Garbrandt is not going to be fighting Figueroa, which I thought was going to be a really good fight. Figueroa, who used to be a hairstylist, who went out and brutally knocked out Joseph Benavidez a couple of fights ago. That's what's going on in the MMA world. But overall, man, the card, I had fun watching it. I had a lot of fun watching it as a whole, especially considering the finale actually panned out to be really good, because that's been the one thing that's missing on a bunch of these cards. Like the undercards will be terrible, and then the main card will be amazing, or the main card will be terrible, and then the undercard and everything else like that will be mediocre, right? And that seemed like it was pretty strong consistently from the top up. But we move on, Martin, unless you had something else you needed to say.
Oh no, I like you. I thought the main event was they did it's one of those ones, like sometimes you'll see the card and you'll be like, oh, what were the matchmakers thinking? I think just about every fight, from Hakeem all the way up to the last Stylebender, they were all good fights. We went 3-2, I believe, in our picks last week, so we're
Yeah, another
continuing to
three and
pick
2 week.
winners. Yeah, I mean, I'll take above 500 every single week. Um, but yeah, let's move on to UFC on ESPN 16. Holly Holm taking on Irene Aldana. Give me the nicknames starting from the bottom.
Starting from the bottom, we're gonna take a little trip to Rome, Italy. This guy's 8-1. Name is Luigi Vendramini. Luigi Vendramini. His nickname, Luigi the Italian Stallion Vendramini. So, are we gonna DQ him or?
No, we're just not gonna pick him.
Okay. By the way, the rules of the UFC nickname picks. We read off the names of the fighters. We pick. Martin picks 5 based solely off how dope their nicknames are. Because, I mean, if you have a dope nickname, like having a dope name is winning 50%.
It's 50% because the other person on the other side knows, like, when you go into the press conferences, the weigh-ins, they always say the nicknames, and it strikes fear into some people because it puts that thought in your head, like, why the fuck is he named what he's named? Why is Israel named the fucking last Stylebender? Because he's literally, like, not a master of all styles, but he's
A blend
learned.
of them.
Yeah, I mean, he's a white belt. I mean, it's just a cool nickname, And for me, if I was going up against someone named the Last Stylebender, I would have to like stop and think, like, what the fuck is going on? Like, we've had some good nicknames and we've had some bad nicknames. Like,
I just think it sounds cool. I don't need all the. I don't think. Whatever. We'll move on. We can talk about nicknames and their impact. I just think it looks cool sometimes, and we live in a time now where nicknames are not as valued as they should be.
Yeah.
Across the sporting world. But yeah, moving on. His opponent is Jessen the Abacus Ayari. He's from Germany, not Russia. So 16-5. He's got 8 submissions, 5 decisions, and 3 TKOs. He is fighting the Italian Stallion. He is DQ'd because another famous athlete has the same nickname, the Italian Stallion. That is, of course, Rocky Balboa, the legend. Fictional legend, but legend nonetheless. The next fight here, this is fight number 2 on the card from Beijing, China. You don't see Chinese fighters in the UFC as often as you. Well, honestly, you don't see as many Asian fighters as you used to see, like, way early on in the days anymore. Haile Alating is his name. He does not have a nickname. His opponent is Casey Kinney. He also does not have a nickname, and he is from about polar opposite of Beijing, China. He's from Tucson, Arizona. So yeah, moving on. Oh wow, you're gonna have to look up. You're gonna have to look this one up. Konklok Loma Lokabumi Supisada.
So
Loma Lukabumi is the nickname, by the way. From Buriram, Thailand. From Thailand. You don't see too many. I expect some sick kicks. I expect some just tenacious, vicious kicks from this lady.
Ashton, I know what I've got pulled up here is the Luma part of it means dolphin.
Okay.
I cannot.
I like where this is going.
I can't find what Luke Bonmi means.
Luke
Uh,
Bonmi? Really?
like the second
Just
part. I can't. There's no. I can't find like a translation or anything.
okay. So that may be scary. That's even scarier. It's like, what the fuck does that even mean?
This is. I'm
But
looking
yeah,
at a
Martin.
story here. She had another nickname, but changed it so that the fighter she wanted to fight would fight her. But it's not saying.
Oh,
All it's saying is the dolphin part. It doesn't say what the second part is. Um.
I find this hilarious.
Oh.
It's just like
Uh.
this is
Oh.
hilarious. So there.
It's the name of her like group. Um. Like like they're fighting out of.
Oh, like her gym?
Yeah, it's like the. So I'm reading this story on Vice. Um, Luma and other fighters from of her generation at Luke Bonmi look after the up and coming fighters at her gym. So it's like a group of people. So it's like whatever it means,
The
dolphin.
vets.
I
The
don't know.
vets. Okay, so
Yeah,
maybe not picking that one.
it's a
Dolphin is
gym.
a.
It's a all it is a gym. Luke Bonmi is
Oh,
the gym.
okay. So
Luma,
her nickname is Dolphin. It's not
yes.
actually. Yeah, her nickname is Dolphin. Okay, cool. I'll take that. I like that. I like that.
Decent
Dolphin's
nickname, but
interesting.
I don't think I'm gonna be picking her because for reasons.
We got a Texas girl up next. I think we've already talked about her. She's actually not. She don't have a nickname. It's Jin Frey.
Yep.
She is from Arlington, Texas, with Genesis Jiu Jitsu. She's 35 years old. She's 9-5 in her MMA career, and she's fight number 3 for Fight Island. So shout out to her. Got a lot of no nicknames, by the way, just in case anybody was wondering. This is Nasruddin Imavov, who is
Really quickly,
from
Ashton,
France.
on Jin Frey, if you want to go see what a 8 to 12 pack looks like on
Yeah,
a
straight up.
just go ahead and
Straight
look up some pictures of Jin
it's
Frey.
it's difficult to understand. Like some women, they're built differently for sure. But the most difficult thing for women to obtain is abs because of the fat pad for babies and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
that's the thing.
just go ahead and go look at her body if you want to be impressed with the shape that Jin Frey is in. Let's move on.
8-2. This is Nusradine Imav. He is from France. He does not have a nickname. Unacceptable. Jordan Williams does not have a nickname, from Santa Rosa, California. I mean, I'm just assuming these are all going to end in ties, is what we're going with here. So
Get some nicknames, people.
This is another no nickname fighter. Joshua Kulubau does not have a nickname. He is from Sydney, Australia. So he's from Australian top team, which is funny. American top team is really funny. This is Charles Air Jordan.
Yes, I'm going with this. I clicked on it.
Charles
I
Charles
clicked.
Air Jordan is 10-3.
Yeah, I'm going. Give me Air Jordan. That's a good play. Like we've talked about, they don't always have to like strike fear into your opponent. They have to just like sometimes be a play on words. And Air Jordan, that's a good one.
Yeah, he just came off a loss to Andre Touchy Feely, who had one of the better nicknames on that card. So it was hard to pick him and then also pick his opponent. So we could not pick Air Jordan. By the way, don't know how this is possible. Carlos, the natural born killer Condit, is still fighting, ladies and gentlemen. Out of Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Go look at some of his nicknames. Like if you want to see some, go look at his nicknames. Go look at some of his knockouts. Sorry, he's got a lot of fights under his belt, and some of the more impressive finishes. I'll say that the least. One of the ones that comes to mind for me is Hardy, when he fought Hardy with the red mohawk,
Yes.
and just put him on his back.
Dan Hardy zombied him. He put him to sleep. And Dan Hardy is a guy who's notorious for how much punishment he can take when he's fighting.
Yep.
But yeah, Carlos, the natural born killer Condit, who is 30-13 in his in his MMA career, most of it in the UFC.
Hasn't fought since 2018, by the way.
Yeah, I think it was because of like an ACL tear or something like that. But another guy that has been around for quite some time as well, you've probably seen him in a couple of UFC games, Court the Crusher McGee.
Yep, this one's interesting for me to pick, Ashton. Too.
He was on Tough. He was on Tough at one point. He made it through Tough and got his contract from Utah, by the way.
Yeah, both fighters, last 5 fights not too impressive. Condit has lost 5 in a row, whereas Court McGee is 1-4 in his last fight. So both fighters looking to get back like some momentum. Who knows how long Carlos Condit's going to do it? But when your nickname is the Natural Born Killer, and here's the thing, you can say NBK, and UFC fight fans, you know exactly who the fuck we're talking about. Give me, I'll give you my 5 picks, but I'm giving it away right now. I'm fucking picking NBK.
Okay, so moving on. This next fight only has one nickname in it. The first one is the first and only nickname, Daquan the Tarantula Townsend at 6'3".
This guy gets a disqualification because
Well, the other guy's not as famous. The other guy, the other tarantula, is not like as prominent. So he could. I mean, at some point they may cross paths because they're both in the same weight class. I think.
But I think personally, Jalen Turner owns the tarantula more than Daquan Townsend. Mainly because if he brought his tarantula, and it by the way, isn't its name like Melissa or something like that? Like,
oh wow,
it's one of those.
No, that's yeah.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna have to DQ him here, especially because Jalen Turner is kind of on the up and up in his fight career, whereas Daquan Townsend's on a 3-fight losing streak. So
okay,
disqualification.
He's no longer eligible. Dusko Torovic. This is clearly a setup fight here. He's 9-0. He's one of the few undefeated fighters on this card. He is also from Belgrade, Serbia. So that may be the red flag. That's a little too close to Dagestan for my liking.
Here's a question though, Ashton. Since we're DQing Daquan, the next time Jalen fights, are we DQing Jalen, or are we allowing him?
Well, I mean, he's the most prominent tarantula, so that's his nickname.
So he's allowed. Okay, so all right, so we'll DQ Daquan, but we won't DQ Jalen next time he fights.
You're gonna have to look this one up. Hopefully, it's not something sketchy. This guy is from Margate, Kent, England.
Okay.
You know where that is?
Yeah, I know where Kent is.
So this is a Jackson Wink fighter. Cameron Kamchita else. Cameron Kamchita else.
Let's see if anything comes up. I think it's probably just a nickname since it's Cameron.
Cameron Kamchita, spelled Camchida. He's 10-4 in his career. He's got 6 TKOs with 4 submissions. He's also lost 4 times. In those 4 losses, he's been knocked out twice.
If they're going for the Spanish translation, it means cool, awesome, or good. So since his first name's Cameron, I think it's gonna be like awesome Cam. Like he's just for some reason going with a Spanish. Maybe he's like trainer is Spanish or somebody knows is Spanish and
Cam cool else. Cam awesome else.
Cameron cool Cam. Maybe that's what it is. Cameron cool Cam else. Interesting. But all right. That one's a weird one. That's a weird one.
That'll be a weird one. Kyler Matrix Phillips with an X. He fights out of the MMA lab in Phoenix, Arizona. 7-1.
Okay.
So BJJ guy. He's got his gi on in his profile photo.
Yeah.
Juliana, the Venezuelan Vixen Pena, a true beast in the MMA realm. She's very, very talented. 9-3 in her young career out of Spokane, Washington. 31 years old. Juliana, the Venezuelan Vixen Pena.
Yeah,
fighting against another legend, Jermaine the Iron Lady Durandame.
Now, everybody will remember her last fight against Amanda Nunes went all 5 rounds.
One of the few people to survive against
the
champ.
I was literally about to say.
Martin, congratulations to the champ.
Yeah.
They had their kid.
Yeah,
Amanda Nunes had her baby.
Her and her wife had their kid. Yeah, congratulations to them. This one's hard for me to pick because I like the Venezuelan Vixen. That's a cool little play on like words, not words, like the.
Just to give you
what the fuck's the when everything sounds the same? God damn it.
Oh, homonyms?
No.
Alliteration.
There we go. Why couldn't I fucking think of that? But man,
by the way, Jermaine, the Iron Lady Durandame also has a win over Holly Holm and Raquel Pennington.
Yep.
So yeah, she
good.
Man. She been good. She been good for a long time.
Let me think about that one.
I'm gonna move on.
Yeah, that one's gonna be on the list because I like the Venezuelan Vixen nickname, but Jermaine is just. I mean, she's got a good nickname as well, Iron Lady. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one.
Carlos Boy Felipe. By the way, boy is spelled Boi for Carlos. Boy Felipe.
Boy.
And then the other guy he's fighting against does not have a nickname. It is Jorgen de Castro. So he's 6-1 on his career. And then we move on to the main event here. It's Irina Aldana. She does not have a nickname. She's very talented out of Guadalajara, Mexico. You saw her very recently, if I do recall, just the beginning of last year. She's actually on a 2-fight win streak. Her last loss was to a very talented fighter in Raquel Pennington. So she is fighting Holly, the preacher's daughter, Holm, one of the most decorated fighters in the UFC outside of the octagon, in the kickboxing ring, one of the most talented fighters to ever come to the UFC, and of course set the UFC on a path to which it would never really recover from.
Yeah.
And like burst the bubble of the greatness of Ronda Rousey, a vibe that I think at some point they'll have to make a documentary about how Ronda Rousey really took over the world and inspired so many women, and of course kept alive one of the greatest legacies of
like a
Piper.
family dominance.
Yeah. No doubt about that. And Holly Holm is, like I said, I don't know how many kickboxing championships she had, but it's a lot. It's like double digit. I think it's like 11.
Yeah. So
yeah,
that one.
Martin,
Here's
up the show here, man.
Yeah, let's wrap it up here. I've got 5 picks. Starting with Charles Air Jourdain. Good little play on words there. Then next one on the list, we're gonna go Carlos, the natural born killer Condit. Kyler Matrix Phillips. I like that one, especially with his you can just kind of tell what he's going to be going with there. He's going to be dodging in and out of everything that Cam Cheetah else brings to the table. And like you mentioned, he's got his outfit on in his picture. So that, like, when you're confident enough to wear that in your picture, I'm more than likely going to be picking you. This next one I am on the fence of, and of all the fights on this on of the ones that I'm picking here, I'm the least confident in. But I have to go with my how I stand when I make these picks. Give me Juliana, the Venezuelan Vixen Pena, against Jermaine. And then also in the main event, because there's only one nickname, no matter who I would want to win, with if they both had nicknames or whatever, I'm going to be picking the one with the nickname. Holly, the preacher's daughter, Home. She, like Ashton said, has one of the most historic knockouts in women's UFC history. She put an end to the reign of Ronda Rousey. Irene Aldana, on the other hand, coming into this fight, both of them very similar records. She's on a 2-fight win streak, and overall, in the past 1, 2, 3, 4, in the past 6, she's 5-1. However, most of her fights seem to go the distance, Ashton, and I don't really. You know me, I don't like fighters that a lot of their fights go the distance. I'd rather see them finish it in the octagon. So give me Holly, the preacher's daughter, Home to round out the 5. Going to be still a good card no matter what. We've got some great matchups there. We got some great matchups in the NFL. We've got about 10 minutes before the NBA Finals kickoff, or tip-off, excuse me. Yeah, another good episode in the books there.
No doubt about that, ladies and gentlemen. We had a good time. Hopefully you did too. We're trying to get better at making the episodes shorter, and hopefully you enjoyed that as well. We put our NFL picks out. If you need a recap on all those, check out the replay of the podcast, or you can follow us on Twitter. Follow me at FB_playbook. Follow Martin at Martin Pape, MartynPape_. Follow me on Instagram at the Ashton Forever. On top of that, man, make sure you download the Thrive Fantasy app and you put some bets in on those prop bets and get out there and make you some money. Martin got $4, and then of course Thrive Fantasy took it all back this past weekend. So check it out. It's a good way to get not only your feet wet in the betting world without getting a little too hooked. You know, you don't have to bet your mortgage or anything like that, but you also get to have a little bit of fun with a multitude of games all at the same time. And there's only one thing left to say at this point of the show, man. Wash your hands, wash your ass, wash your whole body, as a matter of fact. But most importantly, stay home, Roger.